Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. During the declared emergency of the City of Toronto, Committee for Adjustment virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and a provincial order that limits attendance at public gatherings. My name is Isaac Lalouz and I will be chairing this hearing. The committee members participating here are Mr. Bartolo, Ms. Attarodi, and Ms. Ankar. They are participating by WebEx and they can be seen and heard. City staff will be assisting us throughout the day, including moderating the WebEx platform. Participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using the said WebEx, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching on YouTube. These participants will be connecting either by their computer, a phone or tablet app, or by telephone. All participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members will be participating by video. Any registered participants will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. And please have only one electronic device on at a time to avoid the background echoing. Land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We are also acknowledge the Toronto, which is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provision of the zoning bylaw, permission to extend or alter legal non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone in attendance today who wants to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please include your name, address, and email address, because Committee of Adjustment and TLAB will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email only. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, decisions may be appealed to the Toronto local appeal body known as TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the local planning appeal tribunal known as LPAT. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. The hearing procedure, I'll be calling each item in the order listed in the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation if required. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when the 5-minute mark is reached. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address, and please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application only. Where required, the applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee of the application. Please note that committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised, to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to receive a notice are informed of the changes. Then individuals, either in support or in opposition to the application, will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker at the end of their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant agent has the chance to address only those concerns that have been raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the decision. The application will then be taken to committee for a decision. Now, there is no minutes, of course, and the Any declaration of interest, members and staff, any conflict of interest for this session? No? Staff, no? Okay, we have a request for deferral for number 34, item number 34. Is the agent online, Mr.? Okay. Mr. Michael Bissett? Mr. Michael Bissett? Are you there?
Can you hear me?
No, a little bit, yeah. Okay, could you please speak up a little bit?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you. You're asking
Okay,
for
yeah.
you're asking for deferral. Could you please tell us what exactly and for what?
Well, unfortunately, notwithstanding that this is a pretty straightforward application and we sorted everything out with staff, there was a mix-up in posting the sign. There was a notice that went out in the mail, but the sign didn't get posted, and had to do with various reasons in terms of people leaving different staff on the file. But I can't. I think it's just best to defer to the next meeting so we can get a proper notice posted on the property.
Okay, yeah, we defer Sunny Day and you check with the plan with the if the committee agrees to defer it. So
Yeah.
you'll have to check with the staff when is it available, when you can have it on, either within a month or 2 months or less than a month. So the main reason is to address the concern of the posting of the sign.
Yeah, the posting of a sign. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Members, any question or motion for deferral? Can I have a motion for deferral, please? Ms. Ankar? Second.
Okay, through you, Mr. Chair, I'll put forward a motion to defer sine die so that the posting can be done.
Thank you. Second. Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, so your application is deferred sine die and unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so our next item is the first one for this afternoon is number 17. Members, this is to construct a 5 Brook Avenue is to construct a new detached dwelling, 16 variances, staff report requesting to refuse variance number 7 related to 3 stories. Transportation has no objection except for condition to close and landscape the no longer required driveways. And we have 7 letters of opposition, 3 from Brook Avenue and 4 from McNairan. And we have the agent and 6 other speakers registered to speak. So the agent here is Victor Rosa. Are you there?
A very good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee.
Good afternoon.
I am here.
Yeah, just please tell us your name and your address for the records.
So this is Victor Rosa representing the owners of the property. My office address is 1726 St. Clair Avenue West in Toronto.
You're the agent for 5 Brook Avenue, right?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Yeah, your address is there. Okay. Thank you. So because we have other speakers, we need from you a presentation and to tell us the merit of your application.
Very good,
And
Mr. Chairman.
You have 5 minutes and I'm starting right now.
I understand. Thank you. In light of planning reports and in light of the numerous letters of opposition, I have counseled my client to consider the deferral of this property, of this particular application, in order to amend and create some revisions that will eliminate some of these variances, mainly related to the consideration that this is called a 3-story dwelling, because given the fact that the distances to the average grades, to the basement, is less than the distance to the first floor. So in light of that, I request that the committee consider a deferral of this application to give me the opportunity to reevaluate the design and also have the opportunity potentially to discuss with the adjacent neighbors.
Okay, so to revise the application, you're asking for deferral to address the concern of the neighbors and also to revise their application if required. So we have to hear from the other speakers, but in the meantime, any question for this gentleman? No? Okay, we'll go to the neighbors. And the first one registered here is Rahim Hamisa. Are you there?
Mr. Chair and members, Rahim is not present.
Okay, I'll move her. I'll get it right. The next one is,
Mr. Chair, just a question, like the members who are here to speak, since there's a deferral, I think we should be asking them whether or not they're okay with the deferral, because at this stage, to hear their concerns may not be valuable as we're going to vote on a deferral.
what do you think we're doing now? Yeah.
I just want to double check.
We
I thought
have
we
to
were
we
gonna
have to
hear
check. Well, first, we have to see if they're here. Yeah, that's what we're here for. No, that's exactly what we're doing. So I don't know what the question is. Colleen Shivers, are you there, please?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Could you please, you heard the applicant wants to defer the application. Could you tell us if you have a problem with that?
I'm in agreement with that totally.
Thank you. That's the question. Okay, thank you. The next one is Paul Shapiro. Are you there?
I'm here, yes.
Okay, you heard there is a request for deferral, and do you have any problem with that?
No, I support the request for deferral.
Thank you. Next is Alan Dennis. Alan, are you there?
Mr. Chair and members, there is no Alan Dennis.
No Alan Dennis. Okay. Thomas Miller, are you there?
I'm here. Hi,
Oh.
yes, I'm here.
Okay, so you heard the applicant is asking for deferral in order to address the questions of the neighbors and in addition to revise the application if required. Do you have a problem with that?
I do not have a problem with the deferral,
Thank
but
you.
I would request that the proponent undertakes
Thank you.
additional community consultation.
Thank you. Andrew Conrad, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you heard the applicant is asking for deferral? Any
Yes, I support the request for deferral.
You're okay. Thank you. Okay, staff, any questions for this to the agent? There is no opposition to the deferral. Any question to the no? If there is no question, can I have a motion to defer Sunny Day? Ms. Satarodi, to defer Sunny Day.
Yes.
Second.
To you, Mr. Chair, I want to defer the application so that the applicant have time to revise the application and also talk with neighbors.
Thank
Sine
you.
die.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Mr. Bartolo? Second. All in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is deferred sine die until you check with the staff, okay?
Chairman, thank you for your time. Members of the committee, have a good day.
Thank you. Item number 18. Item number 18 for the members, it is to construct a new dwelling, 4 variances. Letter from councillor refused variance related to coverage. Staff report revised variance number 2 as per applicants for lots of coverage from 32.03 to 32%, developed in accordance with the east and west elevation drawing dated June 24, 2020. There is forestry condition. There is no other speaker except the agent. Members, do we need a presentation? No? Any questions for Mr. Romano? No questions? Okay, so can we move into a motion, please? Miss Atarodi, yes?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I want to put forward a motion to approve the application with the following changes. Variance number 2, the proposed lot coverage is modified to 32%. And also, I want to add the staff recommendation that the proposed be developed substantially in accordance with the east and west elevation drawing submitted to Committee of Adjustment, dated stamp received on June 24, 2020, attachment 1 and 2 of to this report.
And there is forestry, yeah?
Is
You're okay with
also
forestry? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Okay. Mr. Romano, your application is approved based on those conditions. Did you hear them or you want me to repeat them?
No, I heard them crystal clear. Thank you kindly, Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman, members of the committee. I appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Item 19, which is 245 Haddington Avenue. We have here, we have the agent and 246 other speakers. So, Mr. Malik, Ali Malik, please. Zade, are you there?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Could you please state your name and address for the record?
My name is Ali Malik. I'm the architect and an agent on behalf of the owner for this application, and my address is 236 Les Mills Road in Toronto.
Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Zade, we have here 6 other speakers that are registered, and we'd like you to give a presentation, and you'll have a 5-minute, and I'll start you now.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure that my presentation material can be presented and coming on the screen or not. There was, I think, a 1-day delay, but if it's not available, I really appreciate if we can have the material of our application, the drawing, can be presented. And I would like to start it from the front elevation, which is drawing number A2-1.
I guess the staff can project the drawings if possible. They're trying to find it, okay?
Yeah, if we can roll it down to elevation, drawing A2-1. So in the meantime, I would like to express this, that the homeowner for this property, they reach out to the neighbors. They were able to receive a few supporting letter from the neighbors, and they start talking to the both side neighbor and then cross the street neighbor. But unfortunately, they didn't have a chance, and we didn't have a chance to actually present and discuss their concern. So they send the opposition letter and an objection letter on this application. Especially, we talked with the owner of 243 which is on the east side of our property. And they are supportive of our application, but they didn't want to write anything. And then we understand, I think there is some kind of relation and politics happening in the neighborhood. So we understand that. Also, we talked with the owner of 247, which is the neighbor immediate on our west side, and to trying to understand their concern, but I think it was not successful to discuss all the detail. We understand that one of the issue for this application and proposal is the 3-story variance. And I would like to explain that 3-story so everyone understand the situation of our proposal. Because we are digging under the garage in the basement, by definition of the bylaw, garage is going to measure and define as the first story. And then because, as you see at the front elevation, we have 2-story above the garage, which is very normal in this area. Everyone building 2-story above the garage. The application, the examiner is taking it as a 3-story. So if I'm here to saying that third floor has to be removed and that variance is not going to be approved. So actually, by removing that variance, we are not going to see any appearance or any impact to the our elevation and then the building from the ground up, because that story actually is in the garage, and what is causing that is in a basement. So I want everyone to understand that I have a very close communication with the planner, staff planner, and even transportation, and I'm trying to explain. They understand, but we understand that as a new policy of the Committee of Adjustment in North York, they don't want to see that variance as a 3-story in North York. But I just wanted to emphasize that our application and proposal is different from seeing the 3-story above the ground. The other item was concern of the neighbor is the size of the proposed footprint. I want to bring to the attention of the panel, especially our side neighbor 247. They are larger lot. They are 50-foot frontage, but they are bungalow. But the coverage that they have actually on the existing is 35%, even more than what we proposing. And again, as part of this coverage, if I can see if I can show the site plan, if you can bring the site plan, please. We, as a part of the lifestyle that the owner has, and they actually looking for the very long-term living in this property and in this neighborhood. Is a lovely neighborhood. As you see at the middle of the house, the building, we are proposing a big courtyard to bring the light inside the house as part of the design. So in terms of the building length, we don't have that part inside of our footprint. So is caused to push the building a little bit out of the building length. As you see, we have the requirement of 18.26, which is 1.26 more than the permitted. But when we compare with the 246, which is our neighbor, and that was one of the concern they have, we are completely aligned with our neighbor. And then 243 also we represented. They didn't have any issue, and actually, as I said, they were supporting on that. The last item I would like to emphasize is the driveway. We are eliminating one of the item number 4 in our variances, which is the width of the driveway. I understand that the transportation, they are not happy with this variance.
Mr. Zade,
And
you're over your
unfortunately,
5 minutes. Can you please summarize?
I'm just wrapping up.
Yeah.
So number 4 is eliminated, but at the end, the pattern of the gravel driveway is in the neighborhood and then aligned with what is happening. But we are eliminating to
Okay,
make
so
sure that we are
I'm sorry, I have to cut you off. You're already 7 minutes and we have 6 people to talk, so I'm going to have to leave at that. We'll ask you after when there is questions. So then, any question for the applicant before we call the neighbors? No? Okay, we have the first one is Rosa Rezania. Are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
Roja, yeah?
Hi, this is Poyan. Sorry, Roji had to step out. She had an emergency. I sent an email to Juana explaining that we need to switch yesterday.
I'm sorry, is Roja Rezania there?
Roja is not here with me right
Oh, he's
now,
not
but
here.
I'm also the owner.
Okay, we'll go
I'm
to
the
the
owner
next
and I
one.
can speak.
We'll go
Sorry,
to the... And who are you? Yeah? Oh.
Mr. Chair, we'll bring up Judy next, Judy Davidson, because Roja wasn't ready yet.
Roja, okay. Judy Davidson, are you there? Judy Davidson, are you there?
I am here. My husband Lloyd is speaking for me.
Okay. Where is your husband? Can you please have your husband online?
Yeah, get online, Lloyd. He's online.
Okay. Could you please
He's
state...
online.
Hi, could you state your name and address? We need it for the records here.
Can't hear him, the speaker's office.
Mr. Davidson, could you please speak up and tell us your name and your address? Judy Davidson, is your husband there or you want to speak instead? I think we're going to go to the next one and we'll come back in case they show up, okay? I'll try one more time. Judy or Mr. Davidson, can you please speak up? We don't hear you.
He said that you have, he said you have not unmuted his microphone. He needs you to unmute his microphone.
Mr. Chair and members, Adam Wills here. I do not know who to unmute. I have Judy Davidson as the person that is here to speak. I do not know who Mr. Davidson is.
He's her husband.
Okay, he wrote in and got
said her husband
permission,
wants to
and
speak
he's
for
my
him.
husband. He's my husband.
Okay.
We understand that he is the husband, but he is not registered as the speaker.
He
With
wasn't.
that being said, he can use the account named
Yeah.
Judy Davidson.
If your husband was not registered, he cannot speak unless he
He was
uses.
approved. We went through this legally with you guys. We told, and she said, yes, no problem. Just say your name when it comes on.
Yeah, but it's a technical thing. If he wants to use your microphone, yeah. If he wants to use
All
my.
right, you know what? We'll solve this problem. He'll come in here.
Okay, let him use your
My name
microphone.
is Lloyd Davidson. I live at 244 Haddington Avenue.
Okay, thank you. Tell us, please, what's your concern about this application?
This application is to build a very grossly oversized building. It is, they're asking for variances in every dimension. And this is just not acceptable. There are 4 of these variances that in fact are not minor at all. Some are actually asking permission to break regulations. Number 1, a 2-car driveway, which is 5.81 meters wide on a 40-foot lot, is really unacceptable. It's way too wide when the requirement is a maximum of 3.81. Going from 3.81 to 5.81 is not a minor variance. Number 2, variance 6. maximum height regulation. They're asking for 2 meters higher than the regulation. That's not a minor variance. That's a major variance. It's breaking regulations. 3rd floor, unacceptable. We fought this battle at 238 Haddington in 2014. The committee rejected it. Even the OMB rejected it, and it was not built. There should not be a 3-story building here, and the height should not go that high. Number 4, variance number 8, parking space in the front yard is just not acceptable. There's a real issue here. This building has such a huge footprint with all the driveway and a swimming pool they're going to put in the backyard. And I know you're not dealing with drainage, but the result of this huge footprint is there's nowhere for rainwater to go but to the sewer system or the adjacent properties. The height is way too high and screens out everybody else's light and casts shadows. I need to make one correction. The resident of 243 Haddington is a fellow named Bob Berluga. I spoke to him. He would like to attend this meeting, but has a medical appointment he's waited for 6 months to get and can't attend. He objects to the size of this building as well. Contrary to what the applicant said, he is objecting to this. I know that. I'm his neighbor. I've been living here for 46 years. I know all my neighbors in this neighborhood very well. This is not my first variance committee meeting.
Are you finished?
I have one more thing I want to add.
Okay.
And that is I want this builder to be notified that he must build his house on his property and not use the street to store his materials or equipment, and that he must be reminded of what hours building is permitted, and he must be reminded that idling of vehicles is not permitted for more than 1 minute out of 60 based on City of Toronto regulations. Thank you.
Thank you. He was very, very clear. Now, just stay there in case the staff, the members have any question. Members, any question for the speaker? No? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Davidson. Next is Mordechai Dominitz. Are you there, Mr. Dominitz?
Mr. Chair, members, they are not present.
They're not. Okay, thank you. Richard, Siri, are you there? Mr. Siri, are you there?
Muted.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you please
Chairman,
tell us, could you please state your name and address for the records here?
My name is Richard Siri. I reside
Can you
at
please
247
speak up?
Haddington Avenue.
Okay. And could you tell us what's your concern about this application?
Okay. At the beginning, for a start, when you had offered questions to the developer, I was unable to ask that question because I was muted and had no way to get your attention. He made some references to being the purchaser as being unable to talk to me. I don't know what that was about. I have spent probably an hour and a half speaking with them. And I would say his claims about communication with me are false. And this does not bode well for this relationship. Going through these things, I agree largely with Mr. Davidson here. Each of these well, for a start, if you look at the very vertical or the bird's eye view of the lot, you will see that this is going to be a huge structure on a narrow, deep lot. Each of these variances adds up. Well, we notice that we're chopping the side yard setback on the east, reducing it by 25%. And on the west side, we are reducing it to only 2/3 to 66% of what is required. And this is a fairly narrow area to begin with. Going along a bit further, the driveway width, as it was proposed, and I understand that is off the table now, was actually 150% of what was permitted, which I cannot, in my wildest dreams, fathom as being a minor variance, a 50% increase over the maximum. And similarly, in the other dimensions, we run into the same problems. The height is in particular one of these things. I get the argument that effectively it's a two-story building with a half-story push-up from having a garage. Notwithstanding that, I think it's important to realize that 9.05 meters over 7.2 meters is a 125% of the maximum permitted. So that's a 25% overall height, notwithstanding the number of stories. And I would object vigorously to that. As I did say in my letter, presumably these standards were written with a view that they might be adhered to and were designed with the good of the neighborhood in general. Again, a parking spot on a very narrow front lawn, I think, is undesirable and probably not a minor variation from what is going on in this area. And I'm very puzzled. The question about the lot's coverage being 30% of the area, I presume that does not include the proposed swimming pool. And I would also point out that a swimming pool detracts from the ability of the property to drain rainwater. The city has been furiously putting in new stormwater drainage, has directed the residents to reroute their roof runoff to their ground cover. In this case, the only thing that this property will be able to do will be to divert it right back into the same overloaded raw water system, with the potential for further leakage of non-treated waters into Lake Ontario, which is our water supply. I see that somehow the developer thinks that I have 34% coverage on my lot. I find that very unlikely, but I dare say it might calculate. But I'm not sure why he would be tossing out my coverage as being greater than his, which I don't think is accurate. I don't have anything else to say at this point other than I quite like the design of this property. My only objection to it is it needs a lot that's about 50% at least bigger than the lot that they have purchased. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, thank you. Just stay there. We'll have to ask the members if they have any question. But after that, the agent is coming back and we will ask him to address your concerns, okay? So, members, any question for this gentleman? No? Okay, thank you. Next online, next registered is Ruben Cohen.
Yes, good afternoon, Chairman.
Good afternoon. Can you please give us your name and your address for the records?
My name is Ruben Cohen. I'm at 246 Haddington, directly across from the proposed development.
Thank you. So tell us what your concern is.
Mr. Davidson and Mr. Siri said really most of our points. Mine is simply from the background of as an
So
accountant.
we would appreciate if you don't repeat the same thing, because if we heard it.
No, exactly. That's
okay,
why I said
thank you.
I'm not going to repeat it.
Thank you.
The only point I wanted to make is that I'm an accountant and obviously very in tune with numbers, and I'm quite honestly a little bit surprised that we keep using the word minor. All the variances are in excess of 5%, which in accounting terms is what we use to describe minor. So I find these variances quite excessive. I'm also quite concerned about what this is going to do to the, if I can say, the mood of the block. This is going to be by far the largest house, and take away some of the feeling that we have on the block, which I am quite concerned about. And the last point that I just wanted to make is, from what I saw of the plans, they are planning to put an elevator in there. So clearly there is quite a height factor that is being recognized by the builder themselves. So all those three together lead me to quite vehemently oppose this development. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sticking to that. I saw your letter, and you're an accountant, so you have good numbers. So we'll see. There is a. Do you have any question for this gentleman? No. Okay. So we'll have the agent back to respond to the question.
Mr. Chair, before we go any farther, we do still have two people willing to speak.
What's that?
There are still two area residents that'd like to speak. Lenka Lichtenberg.
Yeah, I have it. I've heard it.
Before we go to the agent, then.
No, yeah, I know. Yeah, I just told her we'll call the agent later on to address their concerns. We have Lenka Lichtenberg, and we still have the one Rosa that we don't know whether back. Okay. Okay, Mr. Lichtenberg, are you there?
Yes, I am. It's a
Oh,
lady.
Lenka. Okay, Lenka.
No
Thank
problem.
you. Thank you.
My name is Lenka Lichtenberg, and I also reside at 246 Haddington, which is directly across the street from the proposed property. I have a question right off the top about who supposedly is agreeing to this, because when it was first introduced by the builder, it said that there's some agreement among neighbors. Well, we're actually the ones that are exactly across, as well as directly across the sides of the property, and we are actually not agreeing at all. So I don't know who the people are that are supposedly agreeing, but it's not the ones that will be the most affected, which is us. So this is we are across the street, and I'm not, as opposed to my husband, I'm not a numbers person. For me, it's purely the size that matters. I am very upset with the proposed height, especially because I do know that it will be higher than everything else around it. And of course, it will block our view, and it will have a major impact on what our experience from our own house is. I spend a lot of time outside. I'm a gardener and so on. So this will be a big monster sitting right across the street from me. So the size, the height are my concerns, and the bulkiness of it all. So I personally actually don't mind the design. I like the modern. However, it's the size. So if everything was reduced down by 25%, I would have no problem with it. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. So as I said before, we'll have the agent back and he'll address your concerns, okay? After we finish. Now, Ali Malik, is he back? Mr. Zade, or? Yeah. No, there's one more. Rosa, right? Yeah. Rosa Rizania, are you there?
Hi. Yes, I'm here. I'm
Okay.
the owner of 245 Haddington.
Okay, we had problems. Excuse me. We had problems hearing you. Could you please speak up?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask her to speak up. She's having connection problems. She's gonna allow me to speak for her. I just wanted you to hear her.
What's your name and address, please?
This is Poyan Jadidian. I'm the owner of 245 Haddington. My address is 448 St. Clements Avenue, Toronto.
Okay, thank you. So please tell us what your concern is.
So I am the owner. I just wanted to say that, there's been some confusion on the line. We are not builders. Rosie and I are, I'm in IT and Rosie is a dentist. And, we are looking to build our dream house here and grow our family, and simply we'll be moving and trying to live in this neighborhood. We do like it. It's got a very nice community feel to it. We have friends and family that are living nearby and are moving also closer to us. Really, throughout the past few weeks, we have gone literally door to door to 11 of our neighbors. We wanted to connect with them. With the COVID, restrictions easing, we wanted to get to know them and also hear about their concerns on the construction. And we had an opportunity to resolve some of these, but unfortunately, we started with Lloyd and Judy on the line at 244 Haddington. They had just repeated basically the same information, and for us, it was difficult to really understand and pinpoint what are the top, one or two issues that we can really address for them. We've left them with our contact information. We asked for them to connect to us. We wanted to have a meeting with them. Unfortunately, there was no response after our initial introduction. We also met with Richard, who is our neighbor to our west. And we had a really great conversation 2 nights in a row. I think there was a confusion. Mr. Ali, my architect, was trying to refer to our neighbor to the north that we couldn't connect with. I have connected with Richard. We had a very good conversation. He had a couple of concerns. I asked him to connect and propose time slots to him to meet with our architect to answer somewhat technical questions. But he was not able to make it. He had an appointment for his, it was something, he had a personal appointment and he couldn't make it. So I have asked again my architect to answer his questions on the line here. One other kind of something that I find a bit disturbing here is that we are having people living from the same household submitting multiple opposition objection letters from the same location, which and also we have Ruby and Lenka both from the same household speaking here today. So I did not find that very appealing.
Yeah,
I just want
excuse
to say
me,
that,
just tell us your concern, because we do have it here. I have the 2 people from the same household, and the 2 others from the same household, but they're registered here, and we are listening to you. So please finish your. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So just to
So,
wrap
so
up,
you're
yes.
the owner, and we do have
Yeah.
these 2 people who spoke. So please go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so just to wrap up, I really want to say that we did try to connect with everyone. We left contact information with everyone. Unfortunately, we were not given the opportunity to speak and resolve the issues directly with them. And we're just hearing the same thing over on this call, which is generally just against all aspects of our construction here, which I cannot really comprehend. But we are reasonable people. We're willing to work with them, but we just could not get an understanding except Mr. Richard, which was very clear, and we're going to address his concerns. With the other neighbors, there was a mention of owner of 243 Haddington. 243 Haddington actually has 3 owners, and we spoke with Jerry, and it seems like Mr. Lloyd has spoken with someone else who's not currently living there. Really, at the end, we are going to help and ensure that we hire a builder that's going to respect the neighbors and is going to protect. Their privacy will be protected. We'll make sure that they follow the construction rules and regulations of the city. And we are not really here to make their lives difficult, but however, we have some rights as well that we'd like to enjoy on as well. So, at the end, just thanks to the member of the committee and the city staff that have put their opinions on our file. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The agent is online, right? Okay, Mr. Zade.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, we like to, I mean, the owner spoke, but we like you to address the concerns of the other people who were objecting to the site, okay?
No problem, and thank you for the opportunity. I think regarding the confusion of reaching out to the neighbors and talk about they concern the owner very detailed explain the situation. The reason I said that we didn't reach out to Mr. Richard number 247 because we were expecting to have another communication regarding to the all concern and technical, which we didn't have, unfortunately. Just going back to the comments from Mr. and Mrs. Davidson, we understand that they are living on across the street. The drainage issue that a couple of neighbors they brought it up is we know that is going to be a review and taken care of during our building permit application. And then we make sure that we don't have any problem. The city has their own regulation for the drainage, and then definitely we have to comply with that. There is no doubt on that. Again, regarding to the height, as I mentioned before, the 9.05 meter is for the projection on the roof. which is on the building link. If I can ask that the drawing be shown on the side elevation, which is A23, if it's possible.
Sorry, repeat the question.
So if they can show the drawing A23 from our Committee of Adjustment drawing application.
Yeah, they're trying to show the
Okay, so the 9.5 meter is just from the roof plan is a quarter size of our roof plan. The rest of the roof is sitting on a 7.16, which is exactly comply with the flat roof requirement height of the zoning bylaw. So from side of the neighbor 247, we are not exceeding from the height, and then the height is exceeding from the left side of the front elevation, which is on the east side, and then there is no impact on the number 247, and the 9 meters, proposed 9 meters is aligned with the previous approval in the area. I'm just bringing two numbers that it was our project, and then we received the approval from the committee, 152 Haddington and then 175 Haddington on the same street, just a little bit to the east, and then both of them approved for the 9 meters. And then they are exactly same shape, 2-story above the garage. So what we're proposing is completely aligned with what the growing development happening in Avenue Road. I mean, the complete Avenue Road, all the blocks. This block is getting developed a little bit, I mean, behind the other area of the Avenue Road because it's closer to the batters. But you see that the developers and the builders is just coming to the area, and then that's the pattern of the neighborhood. This is exactly the character of the 2-story above the garage, and then we are not overruled that. The reason of the 3-story, as I mentioned, is just because of the space under the garage. In terms of the driveway and then the parking on the driveway, we understand that everyone parking on their driveway, but we eliminate the.
Can you please summarize?
Number 4.
I don't want to cut you off, but can you summarize, please?
Yes. So on number 4, as you know, that we eliminate that, so we are not asking for that variance. Width of the driveway is going back to the 3.8 meters, and that's aligned with the transportation. Again, I'm going back to the height, and as the close discussion we had with the staff and then planner, the 9 meters is aligned with what this committee approved on another application. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Members, questions for this gentleman? Ms. Ankar?
I have a question regarding the parking space in front, the proposed parking space. I believe it is number 8. I heard one of the neighbors share some concerns about that, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
The pattern of 50-foot lot frontage in this area is very obvious, and there is a lot of 40-foot lot. Some developer they using two-car garage, and then the driveway is also going to be a double driveway as well as what we proposing, which we eliminate. But this owner, because of they wanted to have less height, as you see, 3/4 of the house is complying with the 2-story. So they wanted to eliminate one of the car from inside the house, and then the width of the proposed house, and then using it for their own the living space. So that's why we have here proposing a single car garage, but it's a wide single car garage, and they have only one car, But in case they have another one is going to be parked on the driveway, we work and then talk to the transportation. They are supporting the parking the car on the driveway, but they didn't support the width of the driveway, and then that's why we eliminating that number 4. But number 8 is supported by transportation. And then obviously this is a pattern in the area. Everyone parking on the driveway. We know that.
Any other question? No more questions, so can I have a motion, please? Ms. Ankar?
Okay, I think that based on what I'm hearing here, and I do appreciate what the neighbors have said, with a lot of candor. It's just that in front of me, I've got something that doesn't have any sort of staff concerns or transport concerns, and I did accept the explanations from the owners as well as the agent representing them. So at this time, I do believe, in my view, that it does meet the 4 tests, and I'll put forward a motion to approve this application, subject to forestry.
Okay. Second? Mr. Bartolo, second. All in favor? Opposed? Ms. Satarod is opposing. And your application is approved subject to those conditions, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Number 20, which is a 1648 to 1682 Victoria Park Avenue, to permit 4-story stacked house. There is a communications of the planning with the history with resulted to these variances, and we have no other person registered here. Members, do we need the presentation? No? Thank you. So first we'll have the agent, Mr. Benjamin Larson. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Could you please state your name and address for the records?
Sure. Last name is Larson. First name is Benjamin. Again, I'm a planner from Hunter & Associates. Our office address is 15 Gervais Drive, Toronto.
Thank you. And so the members don't need the presentation. Do you have any questions? If no questions, can I have a motion, please? Mr. Bartolo?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to propose a motion to approve this application.
No condition. Thank you.
No.
Second? Ms. Ankar, all in favor? Okay, your application is approved unanimously with no conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of committee.
Thank you. Application number 21, which is 492 Sudan Avenue. 5 variances. Staff report changes per applicant, which eliminates variance number 2 and 3, relates to height, and modify number 4 from 1.8 to 1.15, while the requirement is 0.6. That was not seen as acceptable, and the staff recommends to refuse number 4 regarding the FSI. And we have letters of oppositions from 496 Sudan and forestry condition. Mr. Could you please tell us your name and your address?
Yeah, hi, my name is Roy Bance. I represent I'm the agent representing the owners. We are responsible for the design. Fluid Living Studio is the design firm. And the office address is 455 Dover Court Road, Suite 202 in Toronto.
Okay, thank you. We have one more speaker. Is that speaker online, Mr. Wills? He's online. Okay, because we have one more speaker, so we need you to make a presentation, and you have 5 minutes to do though.
Okay.
You have 5 minutes to address your concerns. To present your. I'm starting the clock now.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, committee. The proposal is to build a 3-story semi-detached dwelling, residential dwelling. The height restriction in the area is 9 meters. We're looking to build it 9.43 meters. We have altered the design at the request of community planning to include a sloped roof at front and back, and windows will be represented as dormers to make the building less imposing. And as far as the FSI is concerned, the justification for the high FSI is a result of the lot being abnormally small for the neighborhood. The lot area is 174 square meters. The lot is only 5.14 meters wide. Typical lot sizes on the street and in the neighborhood are more in the neighborhood of 300 square meters. So with 60% lot coverage, that is why we're looking to get 115.4% over the 60% allowable. We did reduce it originally from the 118% or 1.18. And that's pretty much it. It looks to me to be a very straightforward proposal.
Thank you. Question in the meantime? No? Okay, so we have registered here J.P. Clifford. Are you there?
Jonathan Clifford, yes, Mr. Chair. How are you today?
Thank you. How about you?
I am doing well.
Good. So could you please tell us your name and your address that we needed to be recorded?
Sure. Jonathan Clifford, along with my wife and kids. We live at 585 Sudan Avenue, which, due to the numbering on the street, is across from the subject property and 2 doors to the east.
Thank you. So tell us what your concern is before we bring back the agent.
Certainly. Thank you. I have remarks that are based on the applicant's file this morning. I've not really had time to consider the amendments we've just heard of, but my interpretation of the agent's remarks are that we have substantially the same building, substantially the same built form. So I'm going to be referring to several documents for members which are included in the applicant's file. And they're proposing a significant alteration to the property with these multiple variances. I made a written submission on August 17th. It was received by staff on the 18th. It's not made it into the file, but I've been told I can refer to it. And in that submission, I'm objecting to the overall height of the structure. And according to the plans of August 11th, the current single-story home, semi-detached, incorporates a pitched roof with a building height of 5.8 to that ridge. The proposal is a 3-story flat roof format with mansard elevations now, it would appear, with dormers, and an overall building height of 9.4 meters. Now, the bylaw permits 9 meters, and that makes a proposal for 9.4 arguably minor. I heard an accountant talk about 5% earlier. I'm not so good with numbers. However, the context is important, especially in this case, as the proposed height is literally going to tower over its neighbors, and one of those it's actually attached to. As for the front and back elevations, the agent said that they'll be reducing those in what seems to be a mansard style. 7 meters is permitted through the bylaw, and the applicant was proposing 9.4. And the bylaw seems to suggest a pitch to these roofs a little lower in the back and the front than it in the middle. And that's maybe to save us from the architects and to divert the water properly. But nonetheless, in terms of height, the application is not minor at all. And quite clearly contrary, I think, to the official plan, in that the typical building type in this community is 1- and 2-story detached and semi-detached homes, not 3-story plus basement spaces. In other words, what may be allowed is not always what should be allowed. The fourth variance is to essentially double the FSI from what's a fairly generous 0.6 to 1.18. I think now we heard 1.15, basically the same type of numbers. And this is exploiting the applications for height that I just mentioned. And this FSI proposal is just simple algebra. Any application for a tall, narrow, long building with a basement and 3 floor plates is going to generate a lot of square feet. And in this respect, I'm going to suggest to the committee they consider rejecting all the variance applications for the file. And the last concern I have, Mr. Chair, with the proposal is what appears to be a very odd separate basement entrance 10 steps down beneath the front porch entry. And so I'm wondering if this is in preparation for a separate dwelling unit or a basement apartment. And I can think of no other use. And just wish to point out to the committee that after over 20 years in the neighborhood, I know of no other basement units, legal or otherwise, potentially making this element of the proposal contrary to the local zoning restrictions. And so finally, I just wish to bring to the committee's attention the objections of the community, which are contained in the applicant's file, including those of Ms. Zade at 496 and those received after the written submission deadline. And I've been given permission to refer to submissions from Ms. Bowker and Mr. Kreiker of 508 Sudan and Ms. Fusco of 565 Sudan directly across from the property. Of course, myself and my wife at 585. I think we've tolerated a variety of projects over the years, and some have been worse than others. But, Mr. Chair, none have been as unrestrained as this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Just a question. We'll ask if the members have any question. Any question for this gentleman before we call the agent? No? Okay. So we'll call the agent to address those concerns. And are you there, Mr. Benz?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So could you please address the concerns you heard?
Well, addressing the concern about the maximum height of the front exterior walls of being over 7 meters, that variance was dropped, so we don't have to speak to that. And as far as the height restriction or the concern of 9.43 meters with the zoning bylaw calling for 9 meters, I think that's in keeping with a lot of renovations that are currently on in the neighborhood and have been done in the neighborhood. And in fact, the neighbor has approached us and is looking to do exactly the same type of structure. So calling into light that the renovation will not be in keeping with the dwelling connected to it, the other half of the semi-detached, they will actually be looking to build exactly the same sort of structure. So they'll be quite cohesive next door to one another. And then with regards to the FSI, the overall square meter of the gross floor area is 201 square meters, which equates to 2,180 square feet, which is still a relatively small house, given the neighborhood. And the owner is actually, they're a newlywed couple and looking to have raise a family in this house. And in speaking to the walkout from the basement being at the front of the house, that was designed that way only because given the narrow lot and the deck that's being proposed off the rear of the property, there was no real way to incorporate the walkout without compromising the deck. And given the front porch being as small as it is, we just felt it was a better access to take garden tools, lawnmowers, etc., from the basement, as there will be no shed on the property.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Questions for this gentleman?
Yes.
Mr. Bartolo?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So you're saying the current approximate square footage is about 2,000 square feet. That's correct, right?
Correct.
How did these lots? You mentioned that they're significantly smaller than the neighboring ones. Can you put some math to that and describe how they relate to neighboring and neighborhood lots in terms of size?
Well, there's I don't have specific addresses in front of me, but in doing the research in the neighborhood, it's a mixture of detached and semi-detached homes, and a lot of homes have been renovated to add second and third stories to increase the square footage. I'm just commenting on the fact that at 201 square meters and being about 2,000 square feet, I mean, the existing home was obviously much smaller than that, and they purchased the property because they liked the neighborhood and the schools in the neighborhood. The owners did, and 2,000 was kind of the limit in keeping with a semi-detached property of this size.
So the current permissible square footage would be approximately, call it between 1,000 and 1,100 as of right.
Correct.
Which is quite small.
Yeah.
It's quite small, yeah. I mean, this is meant to be a 3-bedroom home, obviously to accommodate a family. So it'd be difficult to accommodate that with just over 1,000 square feet.
Any other question?
That's all for me.
No more questions? Okay. So then we need a motion. Mr. Bartolo?
Mr. Chair, through you, I'll put forward a motion here to approve this application. I understand that the FSI is fairly large compared to what is normally permissible, but given the narrow and small nature of the lot, the as-of-right building would be quite small. And for these reasons, and I believe that the height, the 43 centimeters that it's exceeding is minor as well, and that the application meets the intent of the 4 tests and is minor overall.
Now, the applicant was supposed to eliminate variants 2 and 3.
This is, yeah, sorry. You're correct, Mr. Chair, so we'll go with the applicant's modified, and we'll make this subject to the conditions noted in the forestry memo as well.
And the sorry, I didn't answer the question. Oh.
Sir, I'll
Yeah,
rephrase,
yeah, he
Mr.
said.
Chair. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I said he removed 2 and 3. He removed 2 and 3, and the applicant, could you please?
It's a little choppy on my end. If you can repeat that.
Yeah, can you confirm the elimination of variants 2 and 3?
Variance 3 would remain. Variance 2 has been eliminated as a result of a revision submitted back on July 23rd to Shirin Yazdini from Community Planning.
So what versions in this
no,
package then?
Yeah, just tell us which variants are you eliminating. Our record explained that you eliminating 2 and 3. So, and variance FSI, the member is okay with it. So you tell us, are you removing 2 and 3? I repeat the question.
Are you asking me or are you asking the applicant, sir?
Yeah, the applicant, are you removing 2 and 3?
Just to be clear, 2 is being removed as a result of the order. That refers to the permitted maximum height of all front exterior main walls. So if that is the correct variance that is being eliminated, yes, I agree to that. However, we still need the variance 3, which I understand is the FSI, the permitted floor space index at 115.4.
No. Yeah, the FSI
This
is not
different
number,
than it was before.
the FSI is number 4.
Would the applicant make sure
Oh,
they
I'm
use the
sorry.
public notice to
I think I have
communicate
it
the
over.
changes they'd like to make? Again, would the applicant use the public notice to communicate the changes you want to make? The public notice will be put on the screen now.
Thank you.
If you could put it on the screen now, and then I'll refer to that. Thank you.
Okay, so go ahead, please. You want to remove number 2, you said, right?
Number 2 is being eliminated as a result of the change we made to the roof line. Same with number 3. Yes. So sorry for the confusion. Based on this public notice, variance number 2 and 3 would be eliminated. The rest would remain.
That's exactly what we were saying. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for
I will
project.
rephrase-
That's what I had here, but thanks for projecting it. Okay, so eliminate that on see the member.
Okay, Mr. Chair. I
Okay,
will
so back to square one.
rephrase my motion then.
Yes.
And no worries.
Exactly what
So,
you said before.
I'll make a motion to approve this application with the removal of variances 2 and 3, and I will tie it to the requirements noted in the forestry memo.
Thank you. Second? Ms. Ankar, second. All in favor? Opposed? Mr. Tarodi is opposing. Okay, so your application is approved based on the 2 variances you removed and the condition which has been mentioned. Okay?
Thank you very much, committee.
Thank you. Variance number 22, I mean the file number 22, which is 965 Glencairn Avenue. This is to legalize and maintain the existing dwelling. 5 variances. Staff report recommends the refusal of number 4, which is related to the number of stories. 3 letters of opposition and 3 letters of standards, no objection. So we have here the agent and 2 people are listing. Are the 2 speakers here beside the agent? Yes, thank you. Okay, the agent, Mr. Jonathan Benzwowski, are you there?
Yes.
Can you please state your name and address for our records here?
Yes, Jonathan Benskowski, 301 Keewatin Avenue.
Thank you. Now we have 2 other speakers. Therefore, we need the presentation from you. And I'll put I'll start the clock now. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Mr. Wilson. Adam, if we could go to my presentation package, please.
They're
So
asking for
this is in essence, yes, an application to legalize and maintain, but it is a little bit more complicated than that. The dwelling as it exists today has a building permit to construct the dwelling exactly as it is proposed before you today. So the look and the height of the dwelling, both at the front and the rear, is to remain at 10 meters, which is the exact zoning bylaw itself. The zoning bylaw permits either a 10-meter height or a 2-story dwelling. So what happened in this instance is a building permit was obtained, the house was built. And I do need to see some visuals here to bring this point across.
You're trying, yeah? Yeah, she's trying to put it up.
Yep. Perfect. If we go to so that's the look of the dwelling as it appears from Glencairn. There is no change proposed to that from the application that is before you today. If we could go to the next page. The same thing for the rear. There is no change to the height or elevation with the proposal that is before you today. That's from the rear. Now, if we could go to the next page and maybe zoom in, what we can have here is I've put the issued building permit drawings on the left and the minor variance drawings on the right. As we can see here, they are 100% identical. The height remains at 10 meters as per the issued building permit itself. Now, what happened throughout the process is if we could continue going down into some of the pages, it would be page 13 and 14, but I see you have it as a continuous loop, so maybe I will ask you to stop when you get there. If you could go the other direction, go into higher numbers. No, the other way, yes. So while that's happening, so what happened is during construction, there was an area that was open to below at the rear of the property. So what happens now is
Those are the letters.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're still going over. Okay, you know what? Maybe if you could just put in page 704 or go to page 704. So here we have a yellow outline. That was an area that was open to below on the existing building permit. What that required was what's called a shear wall to be built, which is quite expensive because it calls for lateral bracing whenever you have open to below areas. What the current owner of the property did is the current owner of the property, and if we continue down probably to, I think, about 716, the current owner went for a building permit from the City of Toronto to close in that area there. That building permit was actually issued. So legally, the proposal that is before you today did have a building permit obtained from the City of Toronto. After the fact, during inspection, it was found out that the city made an error in releasing this building permit. What it did in essence is once you closed in that area, the average grade closest to the floor level of the dwelling now became the basement. Hence why we are now here for a 3-story house. So the dwelling as it exists today that you would see from both the front and the rear will not be altered based upon the decision of the committee today. The house is going to remain exactly as it is. So I preface that by, in the beginning, we talked about legalizing and maintaining. I think it is important to note that a building permit was issued for the proposal that is before you today, but was then rescinded by Toronto building staff later once they found out an error was made.
Please summarize. You're over your 5 minutes.
So just to summarize quickly, in terms of the owner itself going and coming to you after the fact, the proper channels were taken to fill in that area with the building permit being submitted and obtained, but then later revoked after the construction had already occurred.
Okay.
And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. The screen for members. Any question in the meantime until we hear the other ones? No? Mr. Bartolo?
Yes. What's the current state of that area? Everything is completed? That new floor structure has been put in?
Correct. It is completed as per the issued building permit that the city issued. So in my package, I've included that issued building permit within my document disclosure I set in. So that is complete and done, yes.
Anything else?
I see.
Okay, so we're
no,
going.
I'll wait till the end.
Sorry?
No, go ahead. Thank you.
You're finished, yeah? Okay, so we're going to hear the other two speakers, and then we'll bring you back to others that are concerned, okay? We have here restricted Marisa Mohan. Marisa Mohan, are you there?
Hi, I'm here.
Hi, can you please state your name and address, please?
Marissa Mohan, address
And
is
if you can
968.
speak up a little bit, we hear you faintly there. Could you speak up?
Sure. I'm just trying to figure this out. Hello?
Yeah, we hear you good. Good. Go ahead,
Oh,
please.
yes, it's
Go ahead.
sorry, it's Marissa Mohan, 968 Glencairn Avenue.
Thank you. Tell us what your concern is.
My only concern is the height variance. So it's already built. Is this asking is this asking forgiveness after it's already been done? I just wasn't clear on the letter that came in, and I haven't been able to get in contact with the neighbor.
So could you please repeat the question? You have problems with the height, and what would you like to know?
Yes, the height, because it's blocking my view. At one point, I was able to see the CN Tower, and it looks like they were only allowed so many
Yeah, you
stories,
keep
and now
fading. You keep fading. Could you please speak to the microphone? Could you speak to the microphone, please?
Hello? Is that better?
Well, we hear you better, but could you please speak up a little bit?
Is it better now?
Very good. So you were saying that you have a problem with the height, and what's your what's the other question?
I was just wondering, is this asking for forgiveness after it's already been built? Because the house has already been built.
Well, here how it goes. This committee does not police the neighborhood, nor are we we cannot provide people with a lot of suggestions. What we do, we look at the variance. If the variance is okay according to this Planning Act, we approve it. If it's not, we refuse it. So
Right.
we don't know whether it's built or not, and we don't have to know. It's up to the even if it's built, we refuse it if it doesn't fit with the Planning Act. So we don't.
Yes, because at this point the house is already built, and I can't see. Now I'm looking at this monster in front of my house. I used to be able to see the CN Tower. Now I can't. If I was in a condo downtown, I totally understand if another condo was being built, but I just don't understand the point of the variance being done after the house is built.
Okay, so the members will look at the variance and see if it fits, and if it fits with the Planning Act. If it doesn't, we have to refuse it. And
right.
So the people are deciding to build before. It's not our concern.
Well, it's already done and being
occupied. I understand that. I understand that. So as I said, this committee looks at the variances as if it's not there. They're not built. And if it's,
I understand that.
And if we refuse it, it's up to the applicant whether to appeal it or to demolish it. We only look at the variances, and if you approve it, you approve it based on the Planning Act. If we don't take any consideration that it's there already. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, there's a few variances. My only issue is the one with the height. Because of the obstruction of the view, there's no light coming into my place anymore. That's basically it.
Thank you. Any question for this speaker? No? Okay. Thank you. Next one.
Okay, thank you.
Next one we have is Pat DeCosmo.
Mr. Chair, members, Pat is not present.
Is not there. Okay. So the agent, Mr. Bensovsky, could you please come back and address those concerns?
Yeah, there's no height variance requested today. There was no height variance requested at the original Committee of Adjustment approval either. The house is built exactly at 10 meters, which is the zoning bylaw requirement. The reason quickly to summarize, the reason for the third story request is now because of that intermediate floor being filled in with the issued building permit changes where the grade is now interpreted, which now considers it to be a 3-story dwelling. The look of the house, both from my friend across the street at number 968, is not going to change regardless of the outcome of the hearing today. That is built as per the building permit and the zoning bylaw. All 4 elevations will remain identical regardless of the outcome of the hearing today. It is just for an interior floor area that was filled in through that issued building permit.
Mhm. So let's say if the members refuse the variance number 4 regarding the 3-story, what does it do to you?
It would take out an interior area that was filled in at the rear of the house. I'm not sure if we could show it in my presentation. I did include that permit within my presentation that was issued. So the look of the house remains exactly as it is today, regardless of the outcome. It would merely be an interior change that would involve removing an area that was voided that has now been filled in through that unfortunately issued building permit that was done incorrectly.
Okay, thank you. I'll see what the members say. Members, any question? Nope. Mr. Bartolo?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So a building permit was issued based on an original set of drawings, and then an amendment was done to fill in the floor after the building was substantially built, or something along
Correct.
those lines.
Correct.
And then the city issued you a building permit. The owner or contractor or whatever went ahead and did it, and then on final inspection, it was discovered that it doesn't conform anymore.
To be honest,
that's how I understand.
You are 100% correct. Through you, Mr. Chair. I'm not sure the mechanism of how they found it out at the end, but yes,
Fair enough.
I'm not sure if it was the field inspector or if it went to somebody else there. I'm not quite sure of that, but that's 100% correct. There's been nothing illegally built at this residence up until today.
So what I'm understanding is that they obtained permission to do this. They got the permission. They thought they were in conformance, and then found out after the fact that they were not in conformance.
Correct. Through an issued permit.
Right, through an issued permit.
Yes, correct.
I see. That's all for me, Mr.
Any other question?
Not so much.
No? Okay. So if no more questions, can I have a motion, please? Mr. Bartolo, yeah?
Mr. Chair, through you, like in reviewing this is an abnormal case, and I understand that the 3-story condition is not permissible. Given the fact that it's not going to affect the facade, they're within the building height, and that the other variances are actually triggered due to the change in grade and the issues with the upper story platforms, because it's now a 3-story dwelling. I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application.
Okay, there's no conditions, eh? No.
No, it's already built.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Tarodi, all in favor? Okay, your application is unanimously approved with no conditions.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
You too. Item 23, which is 43 Wallingford Road, application 23. We have here to legalize and maintain a rear yard cabana. There's only 3 variances, and there is one more, two speakers, the agent and one more speaker. The speaker, is the speaker online beside the agent?
Mr. Chair and members, the local area resident does not appear to be on the call.
Not there. Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Trevor Chan. Sorry, Mr. Trevor Gain, are you there? Mr. Trevor Gain.
Mr. Chair and members, Trevor is present and he is unmuted, so he is ready to speak.
Okay. Mr. Gain, are you there?
Mr. Chair and members, it appears that the agent Trevor Gain has not authorized his microphone. He may need to log out and log back in to authorize his microphone so he can present.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, the Chan was the other one that's not there. So you're trying, eh?
At
Takes
this
time. It
time,
will take
at this
your-
time, I would suggest we move on to the next file. And we'll
It
come
will
back.
take your time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll hold up this one here. We'll hold on this one. Trevor Gain. Variance number 24. (298) Hendon Avenue. This variance is to application is to construct a new dwelling. 8 variances. Staff report to build according to the site elevation west and east drawings. 1 letter of support from 302. So we have here just the agent who's registered. Mr. Zade Salini. Are you there?
Yes. Hi, yes, I'm here.
Oh, miss.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello. Yes, miss.
Thank
Yes.
you. Okay. So could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Yes, my name is Salehin. I'm the architect on this job, and my address is 43 Apple Orchard Path, Thornhill, Ontario.
Okay. We don't have anybody else here registered. Members, do we need a presentation? No? Okay. So any questions for the lady here? No questions? If no, Ms. Ankar, go ahead.
Okay. Through you, Mr. Chair, it's really simple. I think it does meet the 4 tests. I'll put forward a motion to approve this application.
Thank you, Ms. Ankar. Second?
Okay.
Second?
No, I just want to add also the staff, a friendly amendment, if Ms. Sankar accept, to add the staff recommendation that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the site
East and
elevation
west.
west drawing attached, number 1 and 2.
I had missed that, so thank you.
You're
Yes,
okay, Ms. Sankar? Okay. So Ms. Sankar is moving to approve, and Ms. Tarodi is adding the condition which Ms. Sankar accepts. So all in favor? Okay. So your application is approved, subject to the staff condition to develop in according to the site elevation, west and east drawing. Okay?
Yes, 100%. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman and members of committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair and committee, Trevor Gain has rejoined.
He's back, yeah.
So if we want to go back to that file, we can.
Yeah, okay. So that's number 23, right?
A quick microphone check from Trevor Gain. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. So,
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Gain, could you please state your name and address for our records here?
Yes, my name is Trevor Gain. I'm the applicant and the agent on behalf of the file. I currently reside at 10 Celebrity Place in Markham, Ontario.
Okay. This is to legalize the cabana. And let me ask the members, do we need any presentation? There is nobody else here except the agent. No? Okay. Any question there? Any question for Mr. Gain? No question? Can I have a motion, please? Ms. Sankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, this is another simple one, I think. It does meet the 4 tests. I'll put forward a motion to approve.
Thank you. Second?
What? Yeah, they're not there.
Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Thank you. Your application is unanimously approved.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Sorry for the confusion. Have a nice afternoon.
Okay. Variance number 26, 25. Glenn Karen, 25. Okay, application number 25 is to construct 2 units in the basement. We have 8 variances. Staff report recommends refusal of variance number 6, and transportation recommends refusal of variance number 1. We don't have any person to speak except the agent. The agent, Tony Siesto, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Tony Siesto. I'm the owner of the building, and my address is 609 Marley Avenue, Toronto.
Thank you. We don't have any other speaker. Would you like a presentation? No? Okay. Any questions for the, is that a presentation or a request for?
No, just a question regarding variance number 6. How come they don't have any landscaping, zero landscape? Does that also concern me? The proposed landscaping is 0 versus 91, 98.
So would you like a presentation? No?
Explanation?
Well, whatever, if you want a presentation. How about you, a presentation? Okay.
I'd like
So,
one, Mr. Chair.
thank you. Okay, give us please a presentation, and I'm going to put you on this here for 5 minutes. Please start.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I understand that the city has expressed some concern regarding the landscape requirement, and the variance is actually slightly inaccurate. So just to be clear, the building itself is not changing. There's no actual construction being taking place. There are 2 units being created in the lower level from space that already exists within the building. So the landscaping, so just to give you an idea, the property itself is 38 feet wide, of which, oh, perfect. I see my display up here. So you can see the purple highlighted area is the driveway and the parking. So that takes up all the space for the 4 existing parking spots that are on site. The green is the exit and entry walkways that are required by fire code for the building. And the yellow area is actually landscaping that does exist. So we're not proposing 0. We're proposing all of the available area that is that we can possibly do any landscaping is actually landscaped, and it exists. So we've got approximately about 30 meters of front area landscape, and it does exist there. And that's really the only possible amount of landscaping that you could create without eliminating parking or required walkways for the residents of the building.
Finished, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair.
I don't see the member.
I just wonder if the driveway has already been built, and what is the material of the driveway that has been built for the 4-car garage?
Yeah, the driveway currently exists, and it's made out of concrete.
Concrete.
Yes.
Any other question?
The question is from, sorry.
Yeah, I have 2 hands. Okay,
Yeah, so
keep going.
If, because we have this variance in front of us, the landscape is 0. So I would like to ask the city staff if they have any recommendation, because based on the drawing, they show definitely they have some landscaping but the numbers that are in front of us doesn't reflect that. I just want a recommendation from city staff to see if they have any recommendation in this respect, or we have to decide based on
No.
whatever numbers are in front of us.
No, they said no.
No? Okay.
They said no. Okay, Ms. Sankar had hands on. Could you please?
Yeah, I do.
Please.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I do share the same sentiments as Ms. Attarodi in the sense that if I'm seeing the photo and it's showing me that there is landscaping. Could it possibly be 0? Further to that, variance number 1 is the recommendation from transport that it be refused. And I would like the agent to comment on that, because at this time, I don't see any explanation as to what's happening with transport's comments. So, you know, if it's possible and we have to tie it to that drawing that he's shown us, we can, but transport's comments really concerns me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The-
Yes, I can speak to that. The building is right at Glencairn in Marley. It's about 100 meters from the Glencairn subway station. So it's a 25-second walk to the subway. There is a bus stop literally in front of the building itself on Glencairn, and another one on the other side of Glencairn for Marley. So it's literally, I mean, a stone throw away from 2 bus stops and a subway station. There's only 6 units in the building. The units that are being added are 1-bedroom units in the lower level.
Okay.
So they're smaller units. And there hasn't ever been an issue for parking.
Yeah.
Okay, so am I confused here? Because I'm seeing that it says, am I looking at the right thing? It says 9 parking spaces, 1 which is visitor. The proposed number is 4 spaces, 0 which are visitors, and you're not complying, so they're asking for you to comply. I don't understand what you're talking about with respect to 1 bedrooms on the lower level. That's not enough.
There's a total of 6 units here. There's a total of 6 units, and they're asking to provide 9 for 6 units. We're providing 4 spaces for 6 units, so we are asking for a variance of the 2, of the 5.
Not 6. Are not 6 spaces for the 6 units. They're not 9 units.
That's right.
Sorry, there are 6 units, and they're asking for 9 spaces.
Yeah.
And we're suggesting, because it's so well serviced by transit, and there is other parking in the area, public parking in the area, that there aren't any real parking issues.
Yeah. So if variance number 1 is refused per transportation, what does it do to you?
I'm not sure what it does.
Yeah. Well, we see here the.
We're not changing the outside of the building or the parking lot. Nothing can be changed on this site.
Well, but you have a variance. The variance shows that it needs 9, and you have only you have 4 and 0. So was that done by zoning or waiver?
There was a zoning certificate here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the zoning certificate came up with 9 and you don't have it. So the members will have to decide whether they'll go for it or refuse it. So any other question? No? Mr. Bartolo?
I'm looking at some of these other variances that says the parking.
Mr. Bartolo, we don't hear you.
How's that? A little bit better?
We don't hear you.
No? Hello?
Speak louder. We don't hear you.
Okay. So some of these other variances, are we bringing them from into conformance?
No,
then?
we can't
How
hear
did the
you.
building originally get-
Mr. Bartolo, if you could adjust the microphone, we can't hear you very well.
How's that?
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
No problem. So some of these other variances, for example,
It's still,
Mr. Bartolo,
it's still again.
if you can look at your microphone, if you will, when you turn your head away and you drift away from there, we go. Talk that way.
How's that?
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, strange. No worries. I'll be very still. So are we bringing into conformance this building? Like, how did this get passed previously? This is what I'm not understanding with the side yard setbacks and other items.
So there were two other applications that we presented when we built our building originally, and those were all passed. So if you look at, for example, number 4, which is the side yard setback, the requirement is 5.98 meters. And then you look at number 8, for the east side setback, the requirement is also 5.98 meters. The lot is only 11.5 meters. If I complied with both side yard setbacks, I'd have no property left.
Fair enough.
I would be negative half a meter.
Any other
That's
question?
my only question, Mr. Chair.
Any other question? No? So then I can have motion, please.
Just one more question.
Okay.
Just one question. And the question is for all these variants number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 8, which all of them mention existing situation. So what, please let me know that you already get approval for all these in the previous application. Is that
Correct. It's a brand new building. It's a brand new building, and we had approvals to build it 2 years ago.
So all these, sorry for interrupting you, all these existing lot area, existing lot, west side yard setback and building height, and also east side yard setback, which all mention existing, this is what you already get approval from the committee before. Is that correct?
Correct. Some of the variances have been triggered by virtue of what we're asking to do. So they didn't exist before, but they somehow have appeared now in this applications committee. But we've done 2 previous applications before this. So the build form, as it is today, has been approved by committee.
Thank
you. With neighbor support, I might add.
Okay. And any other question? Motion? Ms. Ankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, you know, I've heard this, I've seen the 2 previous decisions, but this is a totally different application to construct units in the basement that's triggering all of these,
Absolutely.
you know, variances for which I'm not hearing accurately. Number 1, you know, that transport is going to be respected, and I have no other commentary but what's in front of me from transport, and I'm not comfortable approving that. And in that being said as well, the 0 landscaping and no commentary about that as well, even if you're showing on a diagram that there is, we've got something in here by the zoning, you know, examination that it is indeed 0. I'm not comfortable at all with this application. It might have been previously, you know, approved as was developed at that time. As it is right now, I am not comfortable, and I'm not comfortable even if we had to reduce the number of parking spaces to 6. We haven't even discussed visitors as well, and I'm not going to redesign. I'm not the expert in transport to understand their underlying concerns about that and what's the official plan for the city. In my view, this does not meet the 4 tests, and I will refuse this application.
Thank you.
That's my proposal.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Tarodi, all in favor? Opposed? Mr. Bartolo is opposing. And sir, your application is refused.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Item number 26, 9 Farmview Crescent. We have here the need for an addition to the existing garage and 1-story ground floor extension. 4 variances. Transportation report has no objection. So what do we have here? We have just 1 agent registered, and see if he's here. Mr. Wells is here. Is the agent here?
Maria Dengreji is here, yes.
Okay. Okay, Miss Dengri, are you here? Maria Denegri, are you here?
Mr. Chair and members, Maria is there. It sounds like she's trying to speak, but her microphone is unmuted, but no sound. So she may need to log out and log back in and authorize the microphone. So we can skip over her application and come back to the next
So
one.
maybe we can step down now.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Maria, if you can hear me, please log out and log back in and authorize the microphone on your laptop or however you're using your system today.
Yeah, if it's take only 1 minute, we may wait. Are you still there? Or are you there at all? Okay, so maybe we go to 27.
I need to log out and I need to log back in.
Maria, we can barely hear you. You're going to have to speak louder or talk into the microphone much more directly.
Okay, can you hear me now?
A little bit better, but if you can do more, we appreciate it.
Okay, I'm going to
Speak loud and to the microphone, please.
Yes, can you hear me now?
A little bit better. So your could you state your name and address, please?
My name is Maria Denegri. I'm the agent acting on behalf of the client. My office address is 1088 Bathurst Street.
Thank you.
Toronto.
We have here the members. We have here the only the agent speaker, and as I mentioned, we have is a proposed addition and a garage story and transportation report. No objection. That's all we have. And if I can have the screen, if I can have people on the screen. If I can have people on the screen.
No, Mr. Chair and members, we're just having some bandwidth concerns right this second. So I think everything is still running. So if you want to keep the ball rolling, let's see what we can do.
So if we talk and they hear us? Yeah?
They'll talk. If we talk, they should be able to hear us, yes.
Okay. Members, we have an issue here with the transmission. I don't see you. So if you can speak up, we have just one speaker here. The agent is Maria Denegri, and the application has only 4 variances and transportation report with no objection. Can you hear me? And please say what you hear.
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Chair. It's Ms. Ankar, and I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
On this application. I do believe it meets the 4 tests, and I'll put forward a motion to approve this application through you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair.
Thank you. Yeah, there is the transportation report with the objection. No objection. There is no staff report. There's no staff report. No staff report. There is transportation, no report. Okay, Ms. Sankar, I have your motion to approve, and do I have a second?
Sure, you, Mr. Chair. I'll second it.
Now I see you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Ms. Atharodi is seconding. All in favor? Mr. Bartolo, I see you. Very good.
Perfect.
Unanimous. Okay, your application is unanimously approved, Ms. Denegri.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Item number 27, we have the is to build a new dwelling. Transportation reports deferring their comments. Variance 6 until more materials submitted regarding the vehicle access. So they're deferring their comments. Staff reports eliminate variance number 2, and B, built according to front yard setback per site plan. So we have here, we have one speaker and one agent. The agent and one speaker. So Mr. Wills, do you know if the RIDE GI is there?
The applicant is present and ready to speak.
No, the other one.
Both people wanting to speak are present.
Are present, thank you. Okay, so Miss, I have here the agent. Can you please, are you hearing, do you hear us?
Yes, hi, a very good afternoon to you, Mr. Chairman, and the
Okay,
members of the committee.
just tell us, please, your name and your address, and speak slowly, please.
My name is Royan Jai. I'm the agent, and my address is 14 Malabar Place.
Thank you. And we have another speaker here to speak to the item. Therefore, we need you to make a presentation, and you need 5 minutes, and I'm starting right now.
Sure. Thank you very much for your chance for the presentation. So to start with, if you don't mind, actually I prefer to answer any of your questions instead, other than the presentation, if you don't mind, to save some time. Since we don't have objection for this virus, and we got one support from one of our neighbor.
That's it?
Yes, if you don't mind. And if you have any questions,
we'll come to that. But you finished your presentation, okay? Any question in the meantime? She'll be back. Okay. So the other speaker is Raidi Gia. Are you there? Raidi Gia.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So can you please state your name and address for the records here?
Yes, my address 3 Innismore Place, and my name's Raidi Jia.
Very good.
And
Okay.
I'm the neighbor adjacent property of 1 Innismore Place.
Thank you. So please tell us what's your concern, and you're going to have a maximum of 5 minutes.
I don't have concern with the property. So as long as the side of east side of the house has a very good design, I'm okay with the variances and the size of the house. So that's my comment.
Oh, okay. So you have no concern, eh?
I have no concern. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. So the agent, can you come back, please? There's no questions. He doesn't have any concern.
Yes.
Yeah. Rwan Zai, can you please come back?
Yes, sure, I'm here.
Okay.
So,
Okay, you heard from the other speaker. They said that they have no concern with the application. I'll just see the members if they have any questions. Any questions, members? No? Can I have a motion, please?
No, through you, Mr. Chair, I have a question. I just wonder if the applicant saw the city staff recommendation regarding the variance number 2, the building height 10.4, and if she willing to modify it. Also, regarding variance number 1, I just want more explanation.
yes, sure. I can explain on these 2 items. So regarding the number 2, the variance on the building height, before the earlier version, building height in total is 10.71 meter. So we made the effort to reduce to 10.4 meter. There are a few reasons behind this. I would like to explain the first one. So this is a corner unit. If you can see the screen for the north elevation, because we have a little bit sharp slope on the on the east corner, so that gives us extra 85 centimeter on the height, which is nearly 1 meter. So if we take the average, so we almost put 50 centimeter on top of our building height, which increased the total height of the building. So that's one of the reasons. Yeah, thank you for sharing the screen. So if you can see on the east side, which is on the left of the grading, so it has a sharp slope. On the north elevation. Go up a little bit, please. Yeah, this one. Yeah, so on the left side, you can see there's a slope from this street. So that's nearly 1 meter difference on the street grading. That's enhanced our height of the building. So that's the first of the reason But however, we reduced the height to 10.4 meter. And another reason, so to be honest, is related to the pandemic situation. So as you all aware, because of the situation, everybody is studying at home and also at home. So for my client, they have a big family. They have 6 persons in total and 4 kids, which is 4 big boys in the family. So during this situation, we feel very crowded and also stressful to work and study at home for 6 persons. So to improve the situation, we try to put extra study room and also the office in the main plan. Also, to put a little bit higher for the height to improve the comfort level. So that's why we have a little bit extra on the height. So I hope you could understand. Because of the 6 persons all together in the same family under the same roof.
Are you done?
Yes, and also for the first one, number 1 is the coverage, right? So for the earlier version, we have 34% in total. We tried, revised, and reduced to 32.16% of the coverage. I hope this could.
Ms. Ankar, did you get all that? Yeah?
Yeah, it's reduced to 32.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm talking to the member. Ms. Ankar, did you, Mr. Tarodi, did you get that? Okay. Any other question? So can I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I've heard her explanation, and I also read the transportation memo that they want additional documentation regarding the application. I think at this stage, I'm more lean toward deferral so that they can provide more documentation so that we can get the approval letter from transportation. Therefore, and also her explanation regarding the coverage for 32 point something. We generally maximum approve it 32, and regarding the height, I appreciate that they lower the height, but still, well, that one I accept their explanation. But anyway, my motion will be to defer this application so that the applicant have more time to provide all the documentation the transportation required. Sine die.
Okay, there's a motion, sine die, to defer the application. Second? Do you have a second? Ms. Sankar, second. All in favor? Opposed? Mr. Bartolo is opposing. Okay, we have the motion here to defer the application until the transportation concern is addressed and the other variances are addressed. So you have to check with the staff when is it available to put it on the schedule again, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. 2830 Ballyronan Road. Application number 28, Ballyronan Road. So can I have just a second, please? We have here to build a new dwelling. This is for the members. Forestry, there is a condition. Staff report condition to build in accordance with exterior front and rear main walls heights. 4 letters of support. 16 letters of concern and opposition, and councillor asking to refuse the application. So now we have Mr. Graham Barrett. Mr. Barrett, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
this is Graham Barrett of 1575 Dundas West. I'm the agent for the owners of 30 Ballyronan.
Thank you. Okay, now we have We have 5. There were 6. Now we have 5 residents who want to speak to this application. So we'll call you after you make your presentation. So we need a presentation. Could you please tell us?
Yeah.
I'll give you the 5 minutes and you tell us. Yeah, you tell us the merit.
Okay, sir. Actually, I had emailed into my application technician several days ago indicating that we would be requesting a deferral today for this matter for 2 reasons. Number one, after numerous discussions with planning staff, a revision was submitted with a zoning review waiver, and it has come to our attention that there may be some errors on that waiver. So we need time to confirm that our variances are in fact correct and then return to this committee. And number two, as you mentioned, there are some neighbors who are interested. Now, the owners had obtained support from some neighbors, and I personally dropped letters to 8 nearby homes explaining the proposal and offering to chat if there were any concerns, but I didn't hear back from anybody. It would seem that quite a few of the neighbors are now opposed to this proposal, and many seem to think that it's going to be a multi-unit rooming house of some sort, but this is definitely not the case. This will be a single-family dwelling for a young family of 4. If any of the neighbors who are present today in this virtual meeting would like to select a representative and we could exchange contact information so that we can discuss this, I would appreciate it. But,
We don't do that here at this hearing. Just when you finish, we'll ask them about the deferral. So you're asking for the deferral to address the concerns of the neighbors and possibly to change the variances or address them, okay? So
just to ensure they're correct.
that's what it is. Okay, so we'll hear from the other neighbors if they have any problem with that. First one we have here, Jack, C-H-O-E. Is that Ko or Cho? Mr. Jack Cho, are you there?
Mr. Chair, members, Jack is not present.
He's not there. Okay. The next one is Amy Xiong.
Amy is my wife. She had to go to a medical appointment, so I'm speaking on her behalf.
I'm sorry. Can you speak up a little bit?
Sorry, Amy Soon-Chung is my wife. She had to go to a medical appointment, so I'm speaking on her behalf.
Oh, okay. And just state for the records here, state your name and address, please.
My name is Jeremy Soon-Chung. I'm at 46 Bali Ronan Road. I have no objections to deferring this to clarify some of the variants.
Perfect. That was my question. Okay. So you have no problem with the deferral, eh?
No.
Thank you. Deborah Drainey, are you there?
Mr. Chair, members, Deborah is not present.
Okay. Patrick Janji, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You heard there is a request for deferral. Do you have any problem?
No problem. We can defer and discuss any concerns at the next meeting.
Thank you. Next is Stephen Schaefer. Stephen Schaefer, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you heard the request. Are you okay with the deferral?
I'm okay with the deferral. I just have one question. That is, how would the new dates be?
The notification will go. The notification will go again the same way it went now, and they'll tell you when is it going to be on the committee. Okay.
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 I'm fine with that.
Very good. Okay, so members, we have a request for a deferral to address the concerns of the neighbors and possibly change the variances. Do I have? Yeah. Okay. Do you want to ask any questions from the speaker, or you're okay? Deferral. Okay. Can I have a motion then? Ms. Ankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I motion to approve this deferral, sine die, to give the applicant a chance to discuss with the neighbors and make some other inquiries and changes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Second. Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Okay. Sir, your application is deferred sine die and you work with the staff when it can be put on, okay?
Yes, thank you. And I would just urge those neighbors to reach out and communicate
yeah.
because I did provide contact information.
Uh,
Thank you very much.
You could, okay, thank you.
So, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I just wonder if it's possible we get like 10-minute break.
absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely. You said it on time. I needed to. Okay, so we have 10 minutes break and we'll be right back.
Perfect.
Sorry? Oh. Thank you.
this light.
We can
Okay, so we're resuming the session. Our next item is number 29, which is 120 Randolph Road. And this is to construct a new dwelling, 4 variances, 2 letters of opposition, and we have 1 speaker from the ratepayers. Mr. Hamid Behested.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Hi, could you please state your name and address for the records here?
Yes, Mr. Chair, good afternoon. Members of the committee and committee staff, my name is Arjang Behesht from Homeland. I'm the spokesperson for the applicant, and I am joining you jointly with Mr. Hamid Behesht, the architect of the project.
Okay, just a second, please. Is the other speaker, Jeff Ketal, is he on? Okay, so we have another speaker for this application. Therefore, we need you to make a short presentation, and I'll give you 5 minutes, and we'll start right now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have 4 minor variances before us today, 2 of which are repeated, leaving 3 variances to discuss. Now, if I could please ask the committee staff to display slide number 1 as part of the presentation package. Thank you very much. The first item I'd like to discuss is regarding the extra building length, which has been increased by only 58 centimeters and only at the slight protrusion of the garage, which is the small area you can see on the site plan highlighted in orange. This protrusion has, in reality, no effect on the neighboring properties because it hasn't caused the building to trigger any rear yard setback, any side yard setbacks, no lot coverage, and more importantly, no front yard setback. The slight garage protrusion abides by the front yard setback, while the rest of the building is pushed even further back than that. And if there is a concern that the building goes too far into the backyard, the line in red on the site plan represents the maximum building depth, which is further into the backyard than our building. The real length of the building is 16.66 meters, while it could be up to 17 meters, so the real building is actually shorter than what it could be by law. And I say real length because if I could please see slide number 2. Thank you. We can see that in the area highlighted in orange, the protrusion of the building, which has triggered this building length, is only 8 feet high. So not only does the building step back for the main entrance and living space, as was seen on the site plan, but as you can see from this south side elevation, the stories above the protrusion are also pushed back at a point where the building length is 16.97 meters, which is still just less than what it could be as per the bylaw. Now, if I could please turn to slide number 3, the slight increase in both building height and FSI have been triggered because we have managed to strategically design a home office between the garage and the second floor. Nowadays, more than ever, we are seeing the importance of a dedicated workspace inside the home. This difference in allocation of time for working in a commercial office versus the home, whether that be 50-50, 70-30, or some other ratio, is a relationship which we believe has been changed permanently, and the effects of which will outlast this current pandemic. So a dedicated workspace inside the home is absolutely essential, whether it be for catching up on work in the evenings or simply choosing conveniences of a home office over the commutes of a commercial one. In a relatively narrow house such as our proposal, and especially where the ground floor is not placed over the garage, but rather side by side with it, this little nook we have created over the garage is not only the only place, but a perfect place for our home office. And it is a space which is very modestly sized, with a garage height of only 8 feet and a library height of only 7 feet. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you. The members, is there any question, or I hold it until the other speaker speaks? We'll hold them. Okay. Mr. Jeff Cattell, are you here? Mr. Jeff Cattell, are you there?
Need to be unmuted.
Can you please speak up?
I need to be unmuted.
Hey, he needs to be unmuted. You are. So just
Hello?
speak.
Okay, my name is, are you hearing me now?
Yeah, just speak up, please.
My name is Jeff Cattell. I'm co-president of the Eastside Residents Association. We've taken great interest in this application. it is, there are two main issues with it. One is the variances are excessive and are driven by the jumped up building design and the desire for maximum space. The building height variance is clearly not necessary, except to maximize space by stacking 2 stories above the attached grade level garage, plus the excessive floor to ceiling lengths. The proposed first floor ceiling height is a whopping 12 feet 1 inch. The second main issue is the concern over the site plan. We sent an email in on August the 7th regarding concerns over the site plan, which does not show the second floor rear projection that is cantilevered over the first floor rear deck and basement walkout. While zoning bylaw exempts window projections from being included in building depth and length, the build form impact is real and additional to the already longer than permitted massing. We questioned whether the proposed projection is in fact a window projection and requested in that email on August the 7th that the plans be examined by the zoning examiner to determine if that projection should be included in building depth and length. We did not get a response from the city on that. And secondly, then to go through the tests, I mean, we are dealing with the 4 tests here. First test, the variant about being minor, the proposal is not compliant. The proposal is too big. Half the elevation is 3 stories, comprised of an at-grade integral garage and 2 floors above. This extra level accounts for the building height and the FSI variances, plus, as I mentioned, the height of the room there. The upper floor cantilevered rear projection is not included, as already mentioned, and the north side projection is not included in the overall width, nor accounted for in the side yard variance. Test number 2 is that the variance is desirable for the appropriate development and use of the land. We do not feel it's compliant. This proposal does not fit the site. The lot is a wider than average front yard width of 32 feet or 9.75 meters. The average in the area is 30 feet, 9.10 meters. There is no compelling reason for any side yard variances. The lot depth is the same as the average lot in Leaside. There's no compelling reason for the building length variance. Thirdly, the general intent and purpose of the city zoning bylaws need to be maintained. The house 2 doors down had a very similar proposal 2 years ago, and the length and the FSI, length and the lot coverage were turned down by the committee. And we feel that this has some of the same issues. And then finally, no changes through the official plan, maintaining the intent of the official plan. A dwelling with 2 floors above an integral garage is not the norm on Randolph or in Leaside generally. It will look out of place and will destroy the uniformity of first floor and roof line heights along the street. Certainly one can find outliers, but we're talking here about the prevailing character. In closing, these variances are too great and unnecessary, and if approved will cause erosion to the character of the street and the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cattell. Any question for the speaker? No? Okay, so let's call back Mr. Hamid Behesht.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Mr. Jeff Kettle, the co-president of the Leaside Residents Association, had sent in a letter of objection. And 2 days ago, we were extremely surprised to see a second letter from Ms. Agnes Vermes on behalf of, again, Mr. Jeff Kettle, co-president of the Leaside Property Owners Association. So in these letters, Ms. Vermes states that the rear box window projection is not included in the already excessive length. And in another letter that states that the building features are clearly intended to misuse allowable exclusions. Mr. Kettle has said and just said that the site plan is misleading because we have not shown in it the second floor cantilevered box window extension not included and nor included it in the building length. If I could please see slide number 1, we have not tried to mislead anyone or misuse anything. The site plan, as its name suggests, represents the site. It includes features of the building which either touch the ground or, if they are cantilevered, should count towards the building dimensions by law. For the same reason that we have included in the site plan the portion of the garage in orange, which is empty above, as part of the legal building length, we have not included a projection which by law is not included in the building length. The second floor projection is shown where it should be on the second floor plan, the roof plan, and on the left, right, and rear elevations. And Mr. Kettle has questioned the window projection, whether it is a projection, and has requested the city zoning examiner to re-examine the drawings. The answer to that question is yes, it is a window projection and has been examined by one of the many knowledgeable expert zoning examiners in the city. Furthermore, both Ms. Vermez and Mr. Kettle have stated that our building length variance is excessive and not minor in nature. If our 58 centimeter long, 8-foot high garage portion only encroachment does not constitute a variance which is minor in nature, we don't know what does. Mr. Kettle in his letter mentions that our excavation will impact the footings of our neighbor at 118 Randolph Road. Although this is an issue for the Ontario Building Code examiner, who, if necessary, will require us to calculate and draw an angle of repose from the neighbor's footing to ours, regardless, we have a written letter of support from that very same neighbor at 118 Randolph Road. And now Mr. Kettle mentioned that our front width is wider than usual at 32 feet, and that 30 feet is the normal width for the bylaw area, which it isn't. 30 to 35 feet is prevalent in the entire Leaside area, while our front is 32 feet wide and the back of our property is actually a reverse pie shape, and the width at the back is 29 foot 10 inches. Regardless, though, we have no side yard setbacks. Ms. Vermez mentions that there is no compelling reason for any side yard variance. We do not have a side yard variance. A north side ground floor projection was mentioned. That is a chimney breast, which is legally projected by law, as per the bylaw allowance. Ms. Vermez and Mr. Kendall provide details of the refusal of another project, 124 Randolph Road, and while Ms. Vermez states that points such as the project's proposed maximum entrance height and driveway width increase during the deferral and/or refusal are irrelevant to our project, we believe they were relevant to that project's refusal, along with other factors that are not present in our proposal, such as an increased lot coverage. The objection letters have pointed to our FSI and increased height to say that our proposal is too big. If I could please see slide number 6. There are 6 projects on Randolph Road alone, which have been approved for an average FSI of 0.69 in a 0.6 requirement zone as we are, and 6 on Randolph again with an average height of 8.81 meters, all approved. Now, in regards to the stacking of 2 stories on top of the garage, if I could please see slide number 8, there are instances that we can see at 205, 197, and in specific 152 Randolph Road in particular, the entire ground floor, other than a small foyer, is situated on top of the garage. And if I could please see slide number 7, it's a pattern of the developing neighborhood which we have seen at over 100 homes in the area of South Leaside alone. All of the houses you see highlighted in green have an above-grade garage with 2 stories stacked above them. And the vast majority of these examples have the main ground floor over the garage. While, if I could please see slide number 3, as you can see...
Can you summarize, please? You're close to your 5 minutes.
Can I see slide number 3, please? Okay, thank you. In closing, as you can see, we have respected the Leaside Residential Character Preservation Guideline, and we have designed a stoop-style entrance to the main entrance of the home with only 4 steps up, which closely resembles every one of our neighbors. And that is where the rest of the ground floor remains for the entirety of the building. Unlike Ms. Vermez has stated, the half of our home is 3 stories. That is not true. The only portion of the house which has 2 levels above the garage is the library floor, which makes up about 10% of the ground floor alone. We have looked not only to the development on Randolph Road and the neighborhood of Leaside as a whole, but also to the character of the preservation guidelines to bring forth a proposal which is in harmony with the existing
Okay,
character.
so I have to cut you off. I'm sorry. You're past your time already.
Thank you very much.
And let's see if the
see
members
slide
have
number
any
8, though.
questions.
Thank you.
Any questions for this gentleman? If no questions, yeah. If no questions,
No, I.
oh, you're
no,
just
no
doing it. Okay. No questions. So can I have a motion then, please? Ms. Ankar?
Ankar?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm at Atarodi, but sure.
I'm
Through
sorry.
you,
I'm sorry, Miss Hatara. Okay.
through you, Mr. Chair, what is in front of us is an application with 4 variants, and I listened to the designer agent, and they nicely explained the reason why they have all these variances. And my motion will be to approve this application with no condition.
No conditions. Thank you. Second, now Ms. Ankar. All in favor? Okay, all in favor? Okay, your application is approved unanimously without any condition.
Thank you. Thank you very much, committee members. Stay safe. Thank you.
Number 30, which is 2350 to 2374 Bayview Avenue. And we have here construction of a loading dock, elevator, and gatehouse. TRCA report, no objections and no permit required, and forestry only. Okay, so we have here Mr. Christian Jatan. Are you there?
Hello, this is Christian Jatan of 235 Yorkland Boulevard, office address.
Thank you. Okay, so we don't have any other person to speak. I'll ask the members, do we need a presentation? No? Okay, no
To the chair, however,
No, excuse me, I'm talking to the members. Hold a second.
Sure.
No, do you have any question? We don't hear you. We don't hear you.
I appreciate a quick presentation.
Okay,
Sorry.
good. Okay, Mr. Christian Jatan, could you give us a quick presentation? You have 5 minutes and I will start it right now.
Yes, of course, Chair. So good afternoon, Chair and committee members. I'm Planet Dillon Consulting, authorized agent of the Granite Club, owner of the subject lands at 2350 Bayview Avenue. The subject property is subject to a site-specific zoning bylaw and is also under subject of the North York zoning bylaw. The site has undergone many changes over the years and is currently under construction for a recently obtained site plan approval for the north side of the property. If I could have my slides up available, I can go through the first image with you real quickly. Just waiting for the host. Thank you. So you can see from this site plan, the site is quite large, but if we zoom into that smaller key box, you can see that the gatehouse is just a small, roughly 2 square meter structure. And we also have the elevator, which protrudes out of the side elevation. So they're very minor additions to the overall site. We had a meeting with the city staff for a pre-consultation. They had no concerns regarding the proposal and nothing from transportation also. So the currently what's being proposed is the gatehouse, which is approximately 3 square meters, just to correct myself, and other minor modifications regarding a access arm and refinements to the curb. And for the elevator shaft, it's on the exterior of the building. It services the interior lower floor at P1 and the main floor. The elevator is proposed for service use related to food and beverage operations. It's required as an addition to the front of the original building, and the elevator shaft will be used as a loading area within the garbage collection area. The approximate footprint of the elevator shaft is 12.5 square meters at grade, but because of the way the zoning is read, we have to read the GFA at both levels, the main floor and the second floor. That's just the elevation of the gatehouse you're seeing right now. And if we advance to the next slide, next page, please. There's just an elevation of the elevator itself. As you can see, we are matching the current brick to the proposed brick. The garbage enclosure is getting a little bit of an upgrade. It's not visible to the street view, but they are just modifying it so it looks a little bit prettier. And if we go to the next page, You can just see a quick visualization of what that would look like. It's quite small relative to the size of the overall building. And if we go to the next page, you can see how the enclosure is around the actual elevator shaft. So the elevator shaft is quite small. And if we go to the next page, you can see a quick cross section of the elevator shaft with the enclosure opened and also closed. One thing I do want to flag, however, is the variance being asked for. There's two related to the gatehouse. So the first one is building outside the building envelope, building between the main wall of the main building and the street line. So that's two variances there. And then the third variance is a combined maximum gross floor area on parts 1 and 2. For a total of 3,245 meters. However, as noted in my cover letter, the variance that we're asking for GFA is 25 square meters. So we're asking for an additional 25 square meters on parts 1 and 2. The two proposed structures add up to roughly 20 square meters. So we're asking for 25 square meters just to allow for any wiggle room in case there's any modifications during construction. Because as you may know, any retrofit on an older building, you come across, unknown surprises. So we were just asking for 5 extra square meters just to in case we need to accommodate anything extra.
Okay.
And that's all for me.
Okay, thank you. You're exactly on your time. So, okay. Any more question? No? Can I have a motion? Ms. Satarodi? Please go
Either
ahead.
me or Bartolo. I don't know who was first.
Well, can we ask again? Any motion? Who wants to make a motion? Mr. Bartolo, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, through you, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Can you speak?
Mr. Bartolo, thank you.
We got the same. How's that?
Yeah.
There we go.
Very good.
Keep my head straight. Mr. Chair, through you, I'll make an application to approve this application, subject to the conditions noted in the urban forestry memo.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Atarodi, all in favor? Okay, unanimous. Your application has been approved unanimously, subject to forestry. Okay.
Thank you, Chair and board members.
Next is item number 31, and that is 137 Newton Drive. This is to build a new dwelling, 5 variances. Staff report condition to build according to the rear south elevation drawing, and 1 letter from 989. She has no concern except the some issue with the survey. Okay. Mehran Hedari, are you there?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, member of the committee.
Okay, can you please state your name and address for the records here?
Mehran Haidari, 1090 Dunmeads Road, Unit 506.
Okay, we don't have any other speaker, just the agent. Would you like a presentation or not? No? Okay, any question for the agent? No question? So can I have a motion then? Ms. Ankar?
Mr. Chair, through you, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application. I do believe it meets the 4 tests, and I'll make it subject to the proposal being developed substantially in accordance with the rear south elevation drawing submitted to the committee.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Okay, your application is unanimous, is approved with the condition as you heard. Okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Next is item number 32, which is 4 Brandon Road. This is to construct a second floor addition to the existing dwelling. 4 variances, TRCA report with no objection, forestry communications, just the conditions, and 2 letters of support from Brandon Road. Mr. Mahir Manios, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we seem to have 3 more speakers here. Are they registered, Mr. Wills?
Mr. Chair and members, it appears that everyone registered to speak is here in the call.
They're here, yeah?
Correct.
Okay.
They're here.
Thank you. So, because, Mr. Manios, because we have some people to speak, we need from you a presentation, and I'll give you the 5 minutes.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, Meher Manis, I'm the agent for the owner. In front of you today, Mr. Chair, is a proposal to expand the existing second floor of the house on top of the existing footprint. We have 4 variances under the City of Toronto bylaw, nothing under the former East York bylaw. 3 variances, which are number 1, 2, and 4, as per the hearing notice, relate to existing conditions, being the 2 side yard setback, and the last one is to the back wall in relation to the long-term stable top of slope as confirmed by the TRCA, which is sort of an imaginary line. And you can see that denoted on the site plan. It's called LTS-TOS. But as I mentioned, all of these setbacks are existing conditions. The last variance being variance number 3, which is the GFA or the FSI. We're proposing a 0.76 GFA relative to the area of the lot beyond the long-term stable top of slope. This is a ravine property, hence the high GFA variance. I would just like to bring to your attention the actual GFA on the entire property is 0.45. And also worth mentioning is the GFA on the table land. So if you look at the site plan, there's quite a big area at the bottom part of the property between the actual top of slope and the long-term stable top of slope, which is at the bottom left-hand corner of the property. That's over 300 square feet. If we base it on the actual table land as denoted on the survey or the site plan, the GFA is at 69.3%. I also bring to your attention that we have no objection from the TRCA, Urban Forestry, which haven't even requested any conditions because we have already circulated this application with them over the last 6 to 8 months as we were working on it. Plus, there's no staff report, hence I would assume that staff and planning have no issue with it. There are no trees affected by this because it's strictly above the footprint of the existing house. I have reviewed the letters of opposition from the ratepayers, the council, and a couple of the neighbors, and I respectfully don't think it paints an accurate picture of the impact and the fit of this house. The existing house has 2 big brick gables at the front and the back, and we've elected to maintain those. And even on the front elevation, the addition above the garage, which is sort of fit within the roof line, we've added a dormer and we've set it back 4 feet in order for the main gable still to be maintained as the main character of the building. The house is 2,500 square feet, which is quite modest compared to most of the houses which have been renovated or new houses. They're around the 3,000 mark. The GFAs noted in the Ratepayer Association are, I'd say, unfair to a certain extent, as it doesn't list the recent approval at 422 Heath Street East, which is at 80.86, and this is not even a ravine lot. And number 11, Evergreen, which is at 0.73. Both of them are not ravine lots. Number 30, Brandon, which they note as a ravine lot, and it's not. The actual GFA, which was approved, which is almost at the 0.7 mark, was for the entire property. So if I was to assume this was a ravine lot and back off 40% of the lot area, this would be at 1.112 of the GFA over the, if it was a ravine lot at 0.6%. There are other variances which have been approved higher, so we're not setting any precedents. I think the precedent has already been set by 422 Heath Street, which is already under construction. All the neighbors at the end of this road, Brenton Road is a dead-end road, and number 4 is the second one in from the end. All the neighbors at the end of the road support this application in writing, and I think one of the neighbors is actually going to be speaking to this application shortly afterwards. So everybody at the end of the street is supporting it. The views are being maintained. There are no trees affected. From a massing and a scaling point of view, this house is 44 foot.
I think we're losing you. Mr. Manios, are you still there?
Mr. Chair and members, he is unmuted. He's still present. Maybe we lost connection on his end.
He lost interest. Huh? Mr. Manios, do you hear us? You're unmuted and you should be able to talk. Hello?
Mr. Chair and members, I've lost the ability to control his microphone, so he's definitely having problems on his end.
Okay, so, well, he finished his 5 minutes anyways. In the meantime, we'll hear the other people, and then hopefully by the time we come back, he'll be on. So we have here the next one is Luigi Falzoni. Luigi Falzoni, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you please state your name and address for the records here?
My name is Luigi Falzoni, and I live at 6 Brendan Road.
Thank you. And you heard the presentation from the agent. If you want to tell us what your concern is.
Yes, I will. Hello, Mr. Chairman and members. As I said, my name is Luigi Falzoni. I live at 6 Brendan Road, and I am Zach and Sarah's next door neighbor.
Can you please
Zach
speak
and
up a little
Sarah-
bit?
Sure. Zach and Sarah are a wonderful couple who have let us know that they are planning to start a family and are looking for a little extra living space. My wife, Catherine, and I met with Zach and Sarah to go over their plans, and we found them to be quite modest and in keeping with the neighborhood feel. The changes Zach and Sarah are proposing are within their existing footprint on all 4 sides and will maintain the height of the home at the existing height. I don't think you can get much more modest than that. Zach and Sarah are wonderful neighbors, and they have the support for their project from both their next door neighbors and their neighbor directly across the street. I urge the committee to approve Zach and Sarah's modest renovation. At this point, I'll be happy to take any questions from any member.
Are you done?
I am finished.
Sorry?
Yes.
You're done. Okay. Any question for this gentleman? No question. Okay. Thank you. We'll ask the agent. Will come back and he'll address all the concerns. Okay. So we have the next one is Zach Robert Cutler. Robert Cutler, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah. Mr. Manios covered the presentation. Okay, I understand you're the owner. You have something else to add? Yeah, would you like to have a presentation?
Yeah, if you just allow me a couple of minutes, I would love to share.
Okay, we'll give you a couple of minutes.
Sure, I'd just like to give the committee a bit of context on our proposal. My wife Sarah and I have lived in the neighborhood now for 3 years, and we moved back to Toronto with the plan of settling in and starting a family 3 years ago. And our plan and hope is to have kids in the very near future. And as we've lived in the house for 3 years, as we're starting a family, we're hoping to have a little bit more space to do that so that we can raise the kids in what we've come to love and appreciate as a wonderful community of Benedict Heights. We started planning for this project quite a while ago, as Maher said in his opening remarks, and we've worked very closely with our neighbors, not only on both sides of us. We heard from Luigi, who has graciously joined us to speak, but also from Mike and Amani to the south side, and then also across the street, our 2 neighbors across the street who are directly opposite us, all of whom have been supportive of our plans and have written letters in support. And so we felt like we've actually tried very hard to incorporate comments and input from our immediate neighbors in our design. And then with respect to our plans, we feel they're quite modest. And in fact, we had a number of discussions with Maher, the architect, as he was doing the designs, to try as much to preserve the existing house as possible, right? So you'll note that this proposal maintains the existing footprint and also maintains the existing brickwork and gables. And so we felt quite strongly that the character of the house wanted to be preserved. And so at extra cost in the construction and schedule complexity, we've elected to keep that in the hopes that it would keep with the neighborhood character and appearance. And then lastly, I would just like to address the concerns of some of the ratepayers association, some of the objections. For me, I think the nuanced point here is the fact that we are on the ravine. We're respecting the existing setbacks, and when you consider the ravine area, the FSA GFI of 0.45 to me is something that I think needs to be considered. The look and feel from the street will be maintained, and so we very much appreciate your time and consideration in this matter, and urge you to support us. Thanks very much for the time.
Thank you. If you want to say something else, you have the right to the 5 minutes. You're okay?
I'm good. Yep.
Thank you. Any question for this gentleman? No? Okay, so we'll have we have another one in
Mr. Chair, there's
yeah.
So Madam Sankar wants to, Mrs. Sankar want to talk?
She wants what?
I did put my hand up.
Oh,
I don't
I'm
think you
sorry.
saw it.
I asked, yeah,
It's
okay. Okay.
There is just one question since it's the owner. I do see that variance number 4 is sort of also concerning to me, that it is instead of a minimum of 10 meters from the shoreline, we're talking about 1.83 meters from the shoreline. Now, I do know that TRCA had no sort of objections to this, and I didn't see a staff report on it, but can you comment on that? Because that's quite a big difference.
Mr. Cutler, are you there?
I am here.
Okay.
Can you hear me all right?
Can you please respond to the question?
Yeah, I can, and then I might ask Maher to weigh in on this as well, as given he's the architect, but that's the existing condition. So we are not changing the footprint of the house at all, and we aren't moving any closer. So that's the existing footprint.
That's helpful to know. Thank you. That answers it.
Thank you. Any other question? Okay. We have Mr. Ian Anderson. Are you there? Mr. Ian Anderson from the ratepayers, are you there? Was he registered?
Mr. Chair and members, Ian Anderson is present. They are logged in. I have unmuted them, but we cannot hear them.
We can't hear him, eh? Mr. Anderson, we don't hear you. You're unmuted. Could you speak up, please? Okay, so
Mr. Chair and members, in the meantime, I'd like to bring to your attention, last night at 6 o'clock, we received a letter from the councillor. I have forwarded it to the members just now, and it is also on the Application Information Center, if you'd like to take a quick look at that. We also have it, so I can display it on the screen for you. So this was received last night at 6 o'clock. It is a new one.
okay. Members, do we have a new letter from the councillor concerned about the FSI, but we still have one registered speaker that we can't hear, and we still have the agent that.
Mr. Chair, the agent is back, but we should try Mr. Anderson one more time first.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Anderson. You are live.
Mr. Anderson, are you there? Mr. Ian Anderson, are you there? No. So you think he's on, but he just doesn't.
Mr. Chair, he does appear to be there. He may not have authorized his microphone to be used appropriately. That could be the case. There also is an exclamation point beside his name that typically indicates that they are there, but their window is not the active one. The WebEx is not the active application on their computer, so they could be away. It could be dormant. It could be a number of things.
So we can't help him from here.
Correct.
So we'll try one more time, Mr. Ian Anderson. Hello, Mr. Anderson. No. So we'll call the agent back. Mr. Manios, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here, Mr. Chair.
Okay, yeah, we had one more speaker, but we can't reach him. I guess he has some problems with his equipment. So maybe in the meantime, you can address the concerns. And we have also the counselor that also is concerned about the FSI. So could you please address all those concerns before I get to committee?
Sure. Can I just confirm whether my whole presentation was heard or was I cut off after 3 minutes?
Do you want to do what?
Did you hear my presentation earlier or was I cut off halfway through it?
Oh, no, I think we was only, I think we heard most of it. You were already on 5 minutes. Your 5 minutes.
Fair enough.
Yeah, your 5 minutes was over. And I said we go back to the people because your 5 minutes was over already.
That's fine. I don't think I exceeded the 5 minutes, but that's okay. Just to answer Mrs. Sankar's question regarding the setback from the 10-meter setback, Zach explained it correctly. It is an existing condition. It is from the stable top of slope, and we're not proposing any increase to the footprint of the building. So it's strictly on top of what's existing right now. So it is an existing condition. The council's letter is no different than the one that I already saw yesterday. It seems to be completely disconnected to the fact that this is a ravine property. And as I had alluded to the fact that based on the entire lot, we're at 0.45. Based on the table land, we're at 0.69. The only reason for the higher GFA is because of the fact that the stable top of slope cuts quite extremely into the bottom right-hand corner of the property, hence reducing the lot area. And if we're talking about precedents and not sounding like a broken record, 422 Heath Street, which is under construction right now, was approved at 0.86. And there's other applications that were approved in the excess of 0.7, and none of them were ravine properties. So we're being penalized just for the fact of being ravine and the way the top of slope cuts through the property. I'm not sure there's much to be said. We're maintaining the character of the house. Most of the houses on the street are 2-story houses. There was only 2 examples of 1.5 story. I've shared some pictures with the committee. I hope you have them on file that shows that we're not changing the look of the house. We're just adding a dormer above the garage. We're setting it 4 feet further back in order to maintain the existing brick gable. I hope that answers the questions.
Members, questions?
No.
I want to see the hands. No?
No.
No one. Okay. Okay. Now, this is unusual and unorthodox, but I'm going to go back to the Mr. Anderson in case he's here. We'll ask him if he heard what happened. We'll give him another chance. Mr. Ian Anderson, are you there? Could you unmute him, please? He's unmuted. Mr. Anderson? Ian Anderson? Okay. So can I have a motion, please? Oh, Mr. Anderson? No. Okay. Ms. Tarodi?
Okay. Through you, Mr. Chair. I mean, this is a very simple application with 4 variants. 3 of them is actually existing. The 4th one, which is FSI, is triggered because it's a ravine land. So I think it's and I appreciate all the explanation that applicant provide us, so it makes it more clear. Therefore, through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with no condition.
Thank you. Second? Ms. Ankar, all in favor? Okay, your application is approved and there is no condition, unanimously approved, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Now we have number 33, which is the last item on the agenda because number 34 was deferred. And okay, so we have number 33, which is 213 Mackey Avenue. And this is a to build a new dwelling, 6 variances. Staff report refuse on the part of the site, front yard setback. Yeah, mostly front yard setback. Okay, we have here one, Mr. Ali Shakiri. Are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I can hear you well.
Okay, so we have here the staff report recommending refusing, and there is only one speaker, but I think we need a presentation. Okay, so give us a presentation to tell us what your about your application.
Sure, thank you very much. I'd like to start by making some changes to the application as I undertook to make these changes. The variance number 4.
Oh, hold a second. We have to look if the changes are substantial, as we say in the beginning. We may not be able to entertain them. So let me get. You're going to application the variance what? Let me get it out.
The variance number 4, we are changing the front yard setback from 9 meters to 12 meters.
Could you just hold 1 second, please?
Sure.
Mr. Chair, the public notice is up on the screen for you there.
Yeah, I can't see it from here. It's too far. Okay, I have it right here, and the public notice, I got it. Okay, so you want to change
variance number 4, the proposed front yard of 12 meters. So I'm changing from 9 meters to 12 meters. And the last variance, number 6, is actually linked to that variance. So the last line, the proposed front platform encroaches 7.2 meters instead of 10.18 that is mentioned on the notice.
Okay, so you're making 2 changes. The
yes, and
first one you said is number 4.
Number 4, changing from 9 meters to 12 meters, the proposed front yard of 12 meters now. And number 6, the proposed encroachment of 7.2 meters. That's the last line of the variance number 6.
Okay, those changes.
And can you continue, sir?
So when you finish your presentation.
Sure, thank you. We actually noticed the refusal recommendation by staff dated August 12. We thought this would be a very, very simple case because the front yard was a result of the 2 old houses on either side being built almost at the end of the backyard. So we contacted the planning, Mr. Michael Romero, and he mentioned that he would be basically okay if we change the front yard variance from 9 meter to 12 meter. And according to that, the last variance from 10.18 to 7.2. He wrote a letter on August 17 at 3:33 p.m. To us and copied the staff of the Committee of Adjustment. A copy of that letter is actually on file. I think your colleagues can display that, and we undertook to make these changes to their satisfaction at the hearing on the floor. So we are making those two changes. Other than that, I don't think if there is anything else for me to explain, unless if there is any question, I'd be more than glad to answer.
Yeah, the question I have here, it's the front yard setback is based on the average between the two houses. The two houses are 17.75, 15.24, and 20.27. So the average came up to 17.75. And your current existing one is already 13.69.
That's correct, sir.
So you're even with your reduction, you're still above what you have right now and above the average. So let's see.
Yes, but that is.
What did you?
Front yard setback that anybody has asked in that area, and those two houses on either side of this lot are exceptions to the entire street. We have on the same block, we have new houses that have 6 meters of the front yard. Therefore, and in any case, we contacted the planning. The planning is written and it's on file. You can see that the required, this is the statement of Mr. Romero. I'm reading word by word that the planning's concerns should be addressed if the front yard setback is improved from 9 meters to 12 meters and the front yard platform encroachment reduced from 10.18 to 7.2, which are actually the exactly the changes that I made to the application to their satisfaction.
Okay, that you had it subsequent to the report that was there, right?
Yes, that was, as I mentioned, we didn't expect it to have a refusal, actually, report on it. I was surprised. Then subsequently, I contacted the planning. We had this dialogue. They were concerned. They were basically satisfied if I improve the front yard from 9 meter to 12 meter. They wrote it to me, and I undertook to make this change on the floor at the hearing because there was no time to basically recirculate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Could we have the members again? Okay, so you heard the changes the agent made, and you have any questions? No questions? Ms. Atarodi?
So, through you, Mr. Chair, my question is that if you reduce the front yard setback for 3 meter, so does that affect the lot coverage, or does that also reflect any other variance that is in front of us? Because if you bring the whole building 3 meter back, so definitely you will have less lot coverage.
No, it doesn't basically change the lot coverage. The same building is pushed back and it is not affecting the lot coverage because the area of the lot is going to remain the same. The area of the house is going to remain the same. It's just the location of the house that is changed according to the direction from the planning. So it won't affect any of the other variances, and it won't basically generate any new variance because of that.
What about the rear yard setback? Because your application is also done by waivers. So if you bring the whole building 3 meter to the back, does that affect the rear yard setback?
No, we can actually push the house several meters further back without generating a rear yard setback variance. The lot is long enough to accommodate that, and we made sure there is no other variance generated as a result of that change.
Do you know how much is the rear yard setback?
I can tell you right now.
Yeah, the existing, then when you minus 3 meter.
Sure. The one that is before you has 19 meters of the rear yard setback. After the change, it's going to be 16 meters. And that is about 7 meters more than enough to get to comply with the rear yard setback.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other question? Can I have a motion, please? Ms. Ankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I mean, I accept the explanations that were provided here today by the applicant, and I accept as well the email that was sent by the staff. So I will motion to approve this application with the changes that were made here today by the applicant, such that variance number 4 is now increased to 12 meters, and variance number 6 has been decreased to 7.2 meters. And that's my motion.
Very good. Yeah, there's no other condition. Thank you. Do you have a second? Can I have a second? Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Opposed? Ms. Tarodi is opposing. So, Mr. Shakiri, yeah, your application is approved based on those changes you made, the 12 and 7.2. And
Thank you.
And we're lucky to have you here because you're the last one. We're going home. Okay.
Me too.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
Take care.
Can I have a motion to adjourn, to terminate? A motion to terminate, Ms. Tarodi, all in favor? Second. Second, Ms.
4:30.
Yeah.
4:30.
4:30. Second was Mr. Bartolo, all in favor? Okay. The minute is the meeting is adjourned. Not we don't like to say adjourned. Terminated at 4:30. Thank you, and thanks for the.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everybody. Take it easy.
Goodbye. Bye.